Thursday, Monday, December 3rd, 2012. I'm Doug Hagmann. I'm the host, along with my son, co-host, Joe Hagmann. You're about to hear 3 hours of unbiased and uncensored news, analysis, information, folks, you need to know in these perilous times. We broadcast each and every weeknight from 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us on the internet at HomelandSecurityUS.com. And we are simulcasting high-def video on the Christians United Broadcasting Network. Tonight we're dark. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. Thank you for your belief and trust in us as we go through some powerful information, powerful news, information that, well, it's just a minefield of current events as we walk through this together. Folks, for our listener-supported broadcasting, we want to thank everybody who has helped us stay on the air through your financial support, your prayers, for talking about our program to others. Just thank you so very much. And I want to say this is program number 200.
Yeah.
Number 200. Joe, welcome.
Glad to be here. I don't know, one of the days I was bored a month ago or so, 2 months ago, I don't remember when it was, I was going through the episodes, and I got curious as to how many we had on Blog Talk Radio, and I counted all the way up to episode 200 and marked it, and today when I went to update the episode, it was there.
So happy 200th episode. Yeah. I guess, you know, when some syndicated television shows have
100.
Well, even 200 episodes, they've got like a little, best of replays and stuff.
No, they, what is it called? They get syndicated. And, but not, yeah. we don't get the pay bump and the syndication and all that stuff.
No. We're still going to do the heavy lifting, folks. And, I'll tell you what, we've got a lot of powerful, a lot of deep, a lot of hard-hitting information to get into tonight. We're going to get right into it.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard this over the weekend. There was a football player.
Yes.
Kansas City Chiefs football player killed himself in front of his coaches after killing his girlfriend. Murder-suicide.
Right.
Jovan Bletcher murdered his 22-year-old girlfriend and killed himself in his locker room in front of his coaches. And this was talked about in the sports world for, the last 48 hours. And some things have come out about this story. Last night on Sunday Night Football, I woke up this morning to an article here on Real Clear Politics, and I uploaded this audio of Bob Costas. Goes on a gun rant, stating that, if there were no guns, this guy would have never did what he did. And this is why we need to ban guns. So I think we're going to play that now.
Let's do that.
This is Bob Costas reading a column from somebody in Kansas City who is a regular sports reporter.
Think about this, folks. Listen to this as being the typical mindset that we are facing, that you, us, we are all facing.
Yeah, here it is.
In the aftermath of the nearly unfathomable events in Kansas City, that most mindless of sports cliches was heard yet again. Something like this really puts it all in perspective. Well, it's so. That sort of perspective has a very short shelf life, since we will inevitably hear about the perspective we have supposedly again regained the next time ugly reality intrudes upon our games. Please, those who need tragedies to continually recalibrate their sense of proportion about sports would seem to have little hope of ever truly achieving perspective. You want some actual perspective on this? Well, a bit of it comes from the Kansas City-based writer Jason Whitlock, with whom I do not always agree, but who today said it so well that we may as well just quote or paraphrase from the end of his article. Our current gun culture, Whitlock wrote, ensures that more and more domestic disputes will end in the ultimate tragedy, and that more convenience store confrontations over loud music coming from a car will leave more teenage boys bloodied and dead. Handguns do not enhance our safety. They exacerbate our flaws, tempt us to escalate arguments, and bait us into embracing confrontation rather than avoiding it. In the coming days, Javon Belcher's actions and their possible connection to football will be analyzed. Who knows? But here, wrote Jason Whitlock, is what I believe. If Javon Belcher didn't possess a gun, he and Cassandra Perkins would both be alive today.
And there you have Bob Costas, and he referred to an article written by Jason Whitlock from Sunday, who wrote that, and who today was on a CNN Ronald Martin show when he likened the NRA to the KKK. That's nice. From Bob Costas, where he said handguns do not enhance our safety. Apparently only body scanners and sexual molestations do, according to Bob Costas. But the heart of the matter here, there's two things. One is getting this anti-gun rant in the middle of a Sunday night football game, slipping it in there. And then two, the idea that if guns were taken away from the people, that there would be no murders. Now, there have been guns around in history for, 300 years, 400 years? And cannons go back. I mean, I don't know how long the history
for a while.
But for the 5,400, you'll say the guns are around 600 years. For the 5,400 plus years before that, when humans roamed the earth, I think one of the first children from Adam and Eve was murdered his brother. Am I correct? That's one of the first stories in the Bible after creation. No, it's a gun.
No,
I don't know what he used.
45.
I don't know. Right. It could have been an automatic, semi-automatic.
Yeah.
But no, the point is, guns don't kill people. They're a tool used to kill people. And you can look at it in any way. I mean, the guy could have used a knife, a pitchfork, a spoon, I don't know. People will continue to be murdered as long as the culture is the way it is and the people are the way they are. Having a gun doesn't change if you want to kill somebody. If you really want to go kill somebody, you're going to do it with whatever you can find.
Yeah, of course not. It's an argument that really we shouldn't even have to have. It's really, I don't want to turn this into a gun argument because...
Well, no, this show is called Gun Grabbers in the Growing Police State, and I did it for a reason, because there's a lot of things going on with guns.
Right.
And the taking of guns in America.
Yeah.
And the outlash and the Holder saying he wants to brainwash people into thinking about guns in a different way. He's the Attorney General, to what the President said, to what about how he wants to work on the radar to ban semi-automatic weapons, to this Hollywood culture now being heavily involved and continuing.
If you look at the number of, if you look at the FBI stats, the crime stats, it's easy to see that who carry concealed weapons, when involved in a mass shooting, let me take a step back here. In situations of mass shootings, the average number of people, this according to FBI statistics, who are killed is 18 in a fraction. That's when no one else has a gun to stop that person in this pure police response. The average number of people who die in mass shootings where a person has a concealed weapon or is carrying a weapon is 2.2, so 2 in a fraction.
And I heard an argument made today that the 3 top cities with gun bans have the 3 highest rates of crime in the country.
Well, you might as well just hang a sign. If you, it's just ridiculous, and it's all about, and this gun grabbing mentality is all about disarming the populace. Look, they did it in Germany. They did it in the communist countries. It's not about guns, as you said earlier. It's about the morality of people. You can enforce gun laws. That's fine. We should enforce gun laws, reasonable gun laws. But it's not going to stop the crazy person from getting a gun and shooting somebody. So we have to address the morality. And where there's a lack of morality and a lack of spirituality, there will be gun violence, there will be murders, there will be, as you said, Joe, about Cain and Abel, and I mean, look, this will happen. So we cannot fall victim to this talk about, well, we need to ban guns, and we know about the attempts to go into or to grab our guns via the United Nations, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And just to give an example, I think last week in a college in Wyoming, there was a man who killed himself and his teacher with a samurai sword. So, I mean, we can go all the way down the list of different things that can be used.
I just have, not that this is funny at all, but I just happen to think of the old Saturday Night Live shows where John Belushi, not Jim Belushi, or Jim Belushi, not John, the Belushi John Belushi, had the samurai sword and, cut me. Folks, if you don't remember the Saturday Night Live skits back in the 75, 76, but that's correct. The mentality is to take away, to disarm the American public. That's what is key here. We have to watch it. We've got Clinton, gun grabber. You got Holder, gun grabber. Obama. Now, if you say Obama is a gun grabber or interested in, banning guns, you're going to feel the wrath of every MSNBC anchor around. Well, I'll tell you, it's stealth gun grab. It's not overt. It's very covert. This is part of the plan.
Right. And they use programs like this in this next article, which we're going to be seeing so much more of. Worcester, Massachusetts is asking its citizens to bring their weapons to the police department next week as part of the city's annual Goods for Guns buyback program. In return for the guns, the city will offer gift certificates and a free flu shot. Well, who can resist that?
Well, they're also, I'm not sure if it's the same city or not, where you can actually get, if you turn in a handgun or a rifle, long rifle, you get a $25 gift certificate to a grocery store. And if you turn in a handgun, it's $50. And then if you turn in an assault rifle, it was what they call
long rifle, $25.
75. Long rifle, $25.
Handgun, $50.
And then what they classify as an assault rifle,
semi-automatic, like $75.
AK, yeah.
But you get a free flu shot.
And a card to the grocery store, free $75 worth of groceries, or $25 or $50.
Right. Now this can, we will definitely see a continuation and increase in the number of towns and communities that will have programs like this. But think about this in a different way. Society breaks down, our economic situation is horrible. There is, everybody's out of work, just the complete worst case scenario. Now imagine this. Give us your guns for food and shelter.
Well, Steve and I talked about this, and I think we talked about this on air. And I know Alex Jones and I talked about this as well. This is what they're planning on doing. They're going to use food as a weapon. And boy, have I got a lot on my mind today. And I just want to say publicly, I just want to thank a gentleman publicly. I'm just going to call him. I'll just call him the professor. Which, like I said, I don't know if he likes it or not, but this man has taught me a lot this weekend. I feel like I've gone through I did some undergrad work this weekend with respect to what the agenda is. But this is part of the agenda. There's going to be an economic collapse, and I'm working on a report right now. We're facing a perfect storm, much like the last Hurricane Sandy, if you will. It's the coming superstorm. Remember that I took and folks, you folks can have, and I'm sure you've got images of store shelves, empty store shelves. Well, I took a photograph of empty store shelves from a Walmart supercenter 500 miles away from where the storm hit, and not really in the path of the storm, but the shelves were empty. Okay, and this. Think about this. Okay, the wise among us will consider that image in your mind as an omen. It's a projection into the future. Well, why? Because there's another superstorm in the forecast. It's not weather related, or certainly not in this case that I've laid out. Much unlike, by the way, the weather forecasters' ample and dire warnings to prepare for Sandy, the public is not being warned about the formation of this superstorm at all. In fact, not only aren't we being warned about it, we are deliberately being given a false forecast. And we've got three major fronts colliding in the superstorm, or something I call a superstorm. Three major fronts, and they're descending upon the United States right now. Now, it's not possible for me to speculate about when the superstorm will hit. It's reasonable, however, to suspect that we're not far from this event. And this superstorm, this perfect storm, it's going to involve all aspects of our society, but specifically our economic, military, and political or leadership health. It threatens our very survival as a nation. The economic factor, look, folks, the deal is this. It is a mathematical certainty that our dollar is going to tank. One of the effects that we have seen from Benghazi is the fact that Iran, or Russia, to be more precise, and even China are attacking our dollar. Now, people will say, well, and I've gotten emails in the past about this. Well, why would China want to destroy our dollar? They're heavily invested in, et cetera, et cetera. Well, with a big reset, it changes everything. It changes the balance of power. It doesn't matter how much they've got invested. When the reset comes, there will be a replacement currency. Believe me, the elite and the bankers and the countries are not going to be wanting. It's going to be the people, and it's going to be a process of enslavement. And that's
already being implemented now.
Yes.
Slowly. And we see as the wages will not keep up with inflation, taxes and other things other expenses will increase here in America, along with Obamacare being implemented. We will see the middle class disappear. And today, this article, IRS aims to clarify investment income tax under healthcare law. The IRS has released new rules for investment income taxes on capital gains and dividends earned by high-income individuals, passed as part of the 2010 healthcare reform law. Now, it goes on to say that tax affects only individuals with more than $200,000 in modified adjusted gross income. Now, I seem to remember President Obama saying he will not raise taxes on people making less than $250,000 a year. Not capital gains
I gotta
taxes.
tell you, yeah, that's right.
Not income taxes. He said a lot of different types of taxes in there, and this shows individuals making $200,000 or more will be part of this these new rules for taxation, capital gains tax, and dividend income.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're thinking, well, that it doesn't affect me. Look, it doesn't affect me either, believe me, or Joe, or Joe and I together, or Joe, I, and our wives combined. No. It does not affect us, okay? But here's the problem. Just because it doesn't affect us, that does not mean it doesn't affect us, because it will affect us in the form of the trickle-down aspect of things. Not the trickle-down economics, but the trickle-down, because we're going to be paying for what...
I saw a good comment in what you're saying, that the comment was Obama doesn't seem to understand that when they change the rules, people change their behaviors when it comes to money, spending, and savings. And
correct.
So
that's right.
That's one thing they're not, taking into account, or can't take into account, what people will do, how they will spend their money, what they will spend it on. When new taxes are implemented, they can go out of businesses can go out of business. They can hire or fire people, depending on what better suits them in these new laws being implemented. And it's sad when a business has to choose whether they should fire employees or go bankrupt because of a president's universal health care program that affects not only those who want to participate, but everyone, because it's mandatory you participate.
It's sad when that happens. It's also telling and sad when it happens when you cannot speak your mind without fear of retribution. Now, I understand this is a two-way street, but I mean, I look at us, both Joe and I, our positions with respect to abortions, homosexuality, and some other issues, the Constitution, where we stand in the Constitution, but primarily our position on Christianity, mentioning the word or mentioning the name of Jesus, and our position on homosexuality has caused us financial harm because we were boycotted, fired, banned from working for a company. We were disqualified for working for one of our biggest clients in the investigative business for doing background checks. Now you might say, well, poor you. Well, you shouldn't be working for a Fortune 100, Fortune 500 company anyway because you're just feeding the beast. Well, that might be so, but we were playing within the rules, and it's not about that. It's about the bigger problem of censorship. This is how people are going to be censored. So, so not only is this an economic issue, this is a moral issue and a spiritual issue, because as you said now with the taxes, circling back around to that, you've got the weight of the taxation coming down on top of us. So this is part of that perfect storm we're facing, and we have to understand that. Look, folks, 6, 8, 10 months, I don't know when, but I would say within the next year, your lives are going to change dramatically. Yeah, I can promise you that. Yes,
they have to. On the current course that we're on, they have to change.
And here's another thing, folks, that I've been looking at quite a bit this weekend. Wow. And
my dad's been on the dark side of the investigation, really digging deep into the occult.
Well, and I have
people
no
behind the curtain.
Yeah, and I've got no intention of really getting into it tonight, but I mean, my office looks kind of like somebody cramming for a college course. I've got books, papers. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 notebooks with notes, different notes open, 10 notebooks. I've got little sticky notes. I've got books open to different areas. Look, we are something has happened, and I really believe this. Something has happened in the last, I don't know. Let's use the marker, and I'll say that I believe this to be an arbitrary, but maybe not an arbitrary date. Let's use 9/11/12. I believe that since that time, and again, it could be something I don't know, but since September 11th, 2012, and I say this as perhaps an arbitrary date, we have reached a point of no return. Things have begun to something turned, something was put into play, and. By the way, the gentleman I talked to, as I refer to as my professor, tends to agree with that. There's numerology that we're dealing with, symbology. There's Masonic issues. There's Illuminati. There's just a number of different things. And here's what I see, folks, in a nutshell. And it was reaffirmed. It was pointed out and reaffirmed to me today. Things are happening right before our very eyes. The magic show, or what we're seeing today, is all for show. Everything that we're seeing, it's a magic show. It's smoke and mirrors. Everything. Whether it's the fiscal cliff, or whether it's the Benghazi situation, or whether it's whatever. It's all a magic show. It's all being orchestrated. No, well, not all of it, but to the extent. But the big stuff is. And since 9/11/12, it's taken on a sense of urgency or a sense of expedience. This is what I'm seeing, folks, and I'm digging deep into this. Joe's right. I'm digging deep, and
It's good to see you're doing this because I've never seen you more interested in what's going on with that kind of underbelly, or the men behind the curtain, the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, the Luciferians, the Illuminati.
Yeah, the
global agenda setters.
See, and people. Well, I know that we have a lot of people that listen to this program, and there's a lot of people, and people at different levels. People at my level 5 years ago, where I'd say, where I was an absolute neocon, and I thought, you know what, things were a certain way. Well, there are other people today that are at that level. There are other people today who think that everything's a conspiracy. There are people that there's just different levels, and different people grow at different rates. That doesn't mean that you're wrong. That means you're just you are where you're at. That's fine.
And we'll never get to the full knowledge until the Lord reveals it to us.
That's
either
right.
in this life or the next. But that is something that happens at His time and choosing. But we'll never know the full extent of the damage that has been done to us, our society, our families and friends, by these people, until all is revealed.
You're 100% right, and I think I couldn't have, I really couldn't have said that better. We won't know, but there's wisdom and counsel among people, among groups. And I think we have to really, all of us, have to realize, understand the lateness of the hour. And we have to start getting serious and say, you know what, we have a problem here. Yeah, well, we know we have got a problem here, but I guess we have to start determining what we're going to do. And I heard it said today as well, look, we can't give up. Even though we know how it ends and we are victorious, that doesn't mean we're not supposed to fight. Because think about this.
The Lord is victorious.
Correct.
We don't know.
Well, when I say we, okay, let me just say this. What I'm talking about is the side of it. Every one of our ancestors, we're here because every single one of your ancestors, folks, survived, decided to survive. Whether it was through the Depression, through World War I, World War II, regardless, they decided to survive. That's why you're here. And you're here because, to date, you've decided to survive. And at some point, we're going to have to decide that now is the time that we're going to have to fight. And by fight, I'm not talking about taking up arms and, going out. No, by fight, I'm talking about doing our best to understand what's going on, identifying the problem. ODA, observe, orient, decide, and act. We're in that process right now. And I think that we have to never lose the will to fight, to give up. Never lose the will to search for the truth. Never lose the will to see and to be a vessel for God to be victorious. I don't think He'd want us to be that.
No, we can't lose our will and our drive to learn more about Him. We can't lose our drive to be more like Him. We can't lose our drive to help people. We can't lose our drive, period, unless that drive is leading us towards evil. We do what we can as long as we have the opportunity to do it.
Yes.
And until that's taken away, we just do the best we can. I don't know if you saw this over the weekend. Abbas, the Palestinian chairman, promises, this is his exact quote, one day a young Palestinian will raise the Palestinian flag over Jerusalem, he vowed.
Well, he hasn't read the Bible, or if he has, he hasn't quite understood the Bible.
And he continued, it's the eternal capital of the state of Palestine.
Once again, folks, the Muslims have absolutely no historical, legal, or biblical, or even Quranic claim to Jerusalem. When Muslims pray, they pray toward Mecca. When Jews pray, they pray toward Jerusalem. The Jews were in Jerusalem, in Israel, and throughout the Holy Land long before Islam even existed.
Mm-hmm.
Long before Christianity even existed.
I mean, Jerusalem was destroyed twice, once in 570 something BC,
once
Jeremiah,
in 70 AD,
and once in 70 AD, and the Muslim religion didn't come around until 600, 700 AD.
632.
Yeah, so you're looking at, at least, and it's a documented history, whether you believe the Bible or not. It's documented that they inhabited the land. And
That's
the people who inhabited the land before them, I think it was the Canaanites. My understanding is they're no longer a people, or
right, exactly. People. And we can go through. And I'm also preparing to write an article. I got really sidetracked. It's amazing how quickly 14 hours can go. You look at the clock, it's 6 in the morning, and you look at the clock again, and it's showtime. It's just really, it's amazing how quickly time passes when you're busy doing research. And I intended to put an article up, it'll go up tomorrow, about the history of the Holy Land. And also, folks, we're going to be doing some changes on our website. Like I said, we're going to be creating a reading room, a resource room, for everyone to be able to get a hold of the literature that we use or we have. So just hang loose, hold tight with that, have patience with that. By the way, if for any reason, ladies and gentlemen, I have not responded to, or you have not received any emails from me, apparently a lot of my emails are not getting to the destinations that they are supposed to be getting to. And if you need Ken from British Columbia, his email address, following tonight's show, I'll put it up. I'll put up his email address under the show that he called in. What was that, Thursday or Wednesday over last week? I don't know, but I'll make sure his email address is accessible for you. Or if he's in the chat room and you're in the chat room right now, certainly Ken, go ahead and feel free to put it up there. That was some house cleaning I wanted to take care of. But anyway, but folks understand, right now what we're dealing with is from what I can gather, we are in a very tenuous, very precarious time period right now where things are going to start happening relatively quickly. The article, Joe, that I wrote over the weekend about Benghazi, which appears on CanadaFreePress.com and HomelandSecurityUS.com.
Yeah, and I showed it on Facebook. And folks, if you are on Facebook, we have a page, the Hagmann and Hagmann Report for the show, and we do post all the articles there. Yeah,
and I've got a Facebook page under my name, Douglas Hagmann, I believe. I think. Yeah, isn't that what I think? I'm not even sure. But look, what's going on with Benghazi, the big lie is this. The big lie is the fact that this administration, this regime, Obama, Brzezinski, the planners behind this, the globalists, the planners behind the objective of toppling Assad, they are not stopping. This is continuing. Listen to what I'm telling you.
I have articles on what some more propaganda news pieces I saw coming out about Syria, the chemical weapons.
Right.
And also on Benghazi. I don't know if you saw this. The State Department spent $4.5 million for the embassy art, and the same people who said they had no money for the Benghazi security.
Well, yeah. What can you say about something like that? It's just that doesn't even. I mean, that's just so ridiculous. The largesse of this government, of our government, they are acting like royalty and treating us like serfs. I mean, that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course treating their employees, their boots on the ground people, especially the military, worse than that. So, but folks, understand this: the agenda to topple Assad has not been stopped. It continues. This is why you're not hearing a thing on the news, and that includes Fox News, which, by the way, is 12%, I think 11-12% owned. News Corp is owned by Saudi Arabia, a Saudi Arabian prince. Now, do you think that that might have something to do with the Saudi, and because this gun-running operation or weapons-running operation out of Benghazi is fulfilling a Saudi agenda, do you think that this might have something to do with the fact that Fox News is barely even scratching the surface? I think it's could very well be. But the big lie here, there's a whole bunch of little lies, and the little lies are distractions for the big lie. The big lie is the fact that this agenda is still going on, and we're running headlong into a third world war. And that's how it's going to be. And what's going to be the result? Well, we see 40,000 dead in Syria, four dead Americans right now. It's going to be 4 million dead, easily, based on reports from Syrian experts. And if it spills over, and it will, it's going to involve American troops on the ground in Syria. And those American troops are not going to be fighting these ragtag loose groups of freedom or Assad people. They're going to be fighting Russian troops. They're going to be fighting Chinese troops. They're going to be fighting Iranian troops. You've got Afghanistan. We went in. The country imploded.
Mm-hmm.
Iraq. We went in. The country imploded. Mm-hmm. Okay, folks.
Egypt.
Yeah.
And that we didn't go into that one overtly, using proxy CIA agitators and other resource gatherers together as part of our government. We went over to the Middle East, Northern Africa, and overturned, 4 or 5 countries with their rulers, and replaced primarily secular governments with now Islamic extremist governments to the worst degree. They're slaughtering Christians, white, black, green. Anybody who won't comply is now a target.
Yeah, it's a war against Christians in multiple countries throughout the Middle East, where we are doing the lifting, the heavy work. We're providing the military, the mercenary, the weight for Saudi Arabia, specifically to destabilize the region in Syria. And what's going to happen, folks, and Iran is striking back, and they're striking back asymmetrically. Remember the the planned assassination, the plot against the Saudi ambassador here in the United States? Folks, it just was not the Saudi ambassador. It would not have just taken him out. It would have taken out some industry leaders and perhaps innocent others as well, most certainly innocent others as well. The bad attacks on the banking system, the cyber attacks, a lot of those attacks are coming from Russia, from China. Why? Because we're poking the bear and the beast over there. So this is an asymmetrical war that we're fighting. And what's going to happen ultimately is this. When this war goes hot, and there's going to be a ground war, Israel is going to become involved in this war. And you know what's going to happen? Israel is going to be all alone. And when Israel is all alone and has no other choice, and their survival is at stake, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to do, Joe? When Israel has got no other choice, they're backed up against the wall, they're facing annihilation. Well, what do you think they're going to do?
They're going to strike. They were ready to strike.
With what, though?
Hopefully not nuclear bombs.
They're going to use a nuke.
But, it depends on...
Look at the Bible.
I agree.
Look at the Bible.
Passages in the Bible,
there you go.
They depict people dying while standing as their skin melts off and their tongues rot in their mouth. Many people have associated this with the what happens to you if you were to be standing in a nuclear blast.
Right.
It definitely could happen. We see how they were ready to, or at least the media played it up like they were ready to strike Iran, even though there's no proof of them having, these nuclear capabilities that they're talking about. So if it gets bad enough to where they're in a position that they have to make a choice, they have X amount of time before an incoming invasion or some type of strike against them, they will.
Right.
If they have that foreknowledge, they will take care of it. As should.
Okay. Now, just imagine this. Take it to the next step now. What is the reaction of the world going to be when Israel uses a nuclear device? It'll be the first time a nuclear device is used. What's the world reaction? It's going to be massive condemnation.
And look at Israel and look at Palestine and look at the world. We talked about this.
I can't find Palestine on a map, so I don't know where I should look.
Such a huge deal to the whole world. Why is there so much attention on everything Israel does? We have hundreds and hundreds of countries in this world, most of which are, well, I wouldn't say most of which, a lot of which are third world countries where they have these crazy militias, or in the Middle Eastern countries, these Islamist militias that run around and commit mass genocide on a daily basis, just about. You have Israel, this country, that has turned a desert into a fruitful, prosperous land since they've been back. Not ever expanding their land unless invading forces, try to come in and take their lands. That's they've expanded through that.
They had 75% of the original land promised to them sold out from underneath them by the British.
But the question is, why is it such a burden to the world, as it says it would be in the Bible? Well,
because the Bible said it.
It's true, right. And you see everything that's going on in Syria. U.S. warned Syria against using chemical weapons. Now, I heard talk that Assad is in flight to Russia, or went to Russia. I'm not sure about the accuracy of that. People in chat are talking about that he could be under attack, or he's in the process of fleeing. They don't know his status. That could be also true. But what they have been, there's a history of the United States funding Al-Qaeda and other terrorist-backed organizations with our taxpayer dollars to supply weapons and guns, and this was what Benghazi was about, to finish the overthrow of Syria and get Assad out of there. They're already acting like Assad's gone.
See, what people got to understand, though, is the anti-Assad rebels, the Free Syrian Army, cannot, there's no possible way that they could get Assad out of there by themselves. None, zero, not, no way.
I'm hearing Russia is going to help with that, or did, or is helping with that.
Yeah, helping keep Assad in, Russia is.
Okay, I heard different, but I could be wrong. But what they're doing here is setting up a way. I mean, just imagine Assad is gone, dead, or in Russia, and he's accused of using chemical weapons, and he's not even in the country.
Well, his army would be. This is the false flag to look for.
Right, exactly. So
this is exactly what they're planning on doing.
And
they're planning on setting him up.
If this was the last Middle East revolution they wanted to have, where they knew that their proxies would work, they could have a false flag killing lots of people with chemical weapons, then the retaliation from other people to wipe out all people. I mean, to fulfill the Bible prophecy where Damascus will be a ruinous heap.
Right. We don't know, and I don't know whether Damascus would become a ruinous heap by Israel using a nuclear weapon, or by way of a chemical weapon, making it look like Assad gassed his own people. But it right now we are watching, and this is what people need to really understand. We're watching Bible prophecy play out right before our eyes. You know, people look look for entertainment in series like what is that, Revolution or Jericho, or some of these. I don't know, whatever television program series you want to look for, faction type, fiction and fact. You don't need it. You just look at the Bible and see what's happening in that area, and you can see it playing out right before your very eyes. And folks, understand this. Each one of you listening to this show tonight, you were born to live for this very moment in time. You've got a job to do. How many people can you save, bring to God, educate, inform, explain what's going on, even in the face of adversity, or
even clothe, feed, shelter, protect.
Right.
I mean, we don't know what our purpose is. Each individual, through working with the Lord, can find that out.
So that's right. So right now we are really seeing things, and once again, the big lie is that because Benghazi happened, everything stopped. No, it didn't. It is still going on. There are still active forces going against Assad. Not that Assad's a good guy. He's not. But when that goes, see, and this is the other part when I mentioned about the economy. When this happens, when everything does break down in Syria, because Russia said Syria is their red line in the sand, then the free flow of oil, because of the way Russia is set up with not being landlocked, really not having any deep water ports or military strategic ports except through Syria, Tartus. This is going to become then about disrupting the free flow of oil. You want to see things get bad? That's when things are going to get bad. It doesn't have to. You don't have to sink a tanker. You don't have to. You don't have to do that. Just threaten it. But if they take it to that step, well, there goes our dollar, and hence the economic troubles. Because right now we are so tenuous. Our dollar economy is so tenuous that when this happens, this is going to take the American U.S. dollar down, because the only thing we're tied to is oil, and actually oil, but even more than that, the refined product being gassed, being tanked in. We're shipping oil out to be refined, and who's behind that process? Obama, and before him George W. Bush, before him Clinton, before him George Herbert Walker Bush. This has been an ongoing policy for how many administrations? What's the commonality here? The commonality is these are all globalists with global agendas.
Mm-hmm. And I want to speak on this real quick, something we talked about last week, the waste in the solar industries and all the bankruptcies we saw there after billions and billions of dollars of federal loans. I want to thank Richard. He sent me an email. He talked about the bankruptcy of Solyndra and where did the money go. And he gives me a link to a website that auctions off the old Solyndra and other solar equipment for auction. And he says most notably they're still in the original crates. And he says the way he sees it, taxpayers pay for the equipment. It's auctioned off after the bankruptcy. So it's like a double whammy. We pay for the equipment, then they sell it, resell it, and get more money.
Right.
He says it could be sold to pennies on the dollar to China or expensively to the public. So, we're getting double whammied here, and I want to thank Richard for that link. I'm going to check that out. He says there's at least 6 solar panels, including Solyndra. No, but Solyndra was like one of the engines to get the solar thing going.
Yep.
But I want to thank him for sending that. Tonight we're going to be talking about a number of different police-state issues, Australian surveillance, out of control. That's from Russia Today. Also, NSA whistleblower, all Americans under surveillance.
We are indeed, every one of us. And I witnessed that firsthand this weekend. Electronic surveillance. So
yeah, a street artist behind a satirical NYPD drone poster has been arrested, and also we're going to talk about this here. I want to talk about 2 stories before the break. Serious chickenpox outbreak in Indiana is among vaccinated children. This report is coming from Health Impact News, and it says Vigo County, Indiana, is currently experiencing the county's largest outbreak of chickenpox with 92 cases so far. Out of these 92 cases, only 3 were never vaccinated. This may be the nation's first case of a serious chickenpox outbreak among children who were actually vaccinated for chickenpox. the Indiana Coalition for Vaccination Choice reports on their Facebook page that out of the 92 cases, 3 were never vaccinated, 10 had received a working vaccination, or 1 vaccine, and 79 the full vaccine. And all received chickenpox, which goes to the question, what does the chickenpox vaccine do? And what is in it?
Gives you
another question,
apparently, right?
Why are kids going to school under the impression, parents giving the impression that this is a mandatory shot? I mean, they basically say if you don't get your kids as chickenpox vaccinated, they're not allowed to go to school here, even though it's not mandatory.
Let me just tell you really quickly, I was vaccinated for the chickenpox when I was a child.
I remember the second part of this story.
Yeah, and I think I was 30, I don't know, maybe 32, and my stepson came home with a chickenpox, and I said, wow, look at that, you just got, looks, just, I was kind of making fun, and within maybe 2 hours, I was at the doctor saying, please help me. I've got the chickenpox, and I want to tell you something, man. As an adult,
I remember you.
I mean, the doctor came around and says, you feel like you want to die, but you're not going to. That's the bad news.
I remember you trying to shave.
That was like, that was after. I mean, like a week after. Yeah, I couldn't even shave, man. I mean, it was just holy moly.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
It does pose dangers to adults when you get that, and then of course later in life, because of the virus that is still in you, you get shingles later in life.
Yes. This is disturbing. A Department of Education investigates instructor expressing opposition to homosexuality. The DOE has launched a federal investigation into comments made by an ROTC instructor in an Alabama school district.
Lynn Van Zant.
Yeah, you heard about this.
Yes.
He opposes same-sex marriage relationships. That's what he told a class. And a 15-year-old student contacted the Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transsexual Advocacy Youth Group Services. The group complained on the schools to the school on the behalf of the student, according to Christian Post. This is just ridiculous. In November, the Department of Education involved the federal government in a complaint. It wrote a letter to the GLBT Advocacy Group. The federal agency informed James Robertson, the director of this advocacy group and youth services, that the department would investigate whether or not students were subjected to a hostile environment on the basis of sex or harassment based on the failing to conform to gender stereotypes.
See, and folks, the important part of this is this ROT instructor did not attempt to influence anyone.
He stated his personal belief and opinion.
Personal belief, that's right. In an environment, in an intellectual environment where discussion is permitted, such as this radio broadcast. It's intellectual discussion. I don't believe in homosexual marriage.
No, me neither. If somebody called in and said they did, we would just agree to disagree.
It's not, well,
I mean,
exactly.
See what these people are doing. Anybody who speaks out against homosexuality, even though it's wrong, that's like going to school and you speaking out against gun violence or, murders, and the instructor, or vice versa, the instructor speaking against murders or welfare, and they get an investigation.
When's the last time you saw somebody, an instructor or school teacher say, I don't believe that handguns are a right, and I believe handguns should be banned, and then you've got the NRA coming and suing or whatever.
Stepping in, or federal investigations.
Or that's right, it would be a federal investigation because it would be a constitutional issue.
No, the only federal investigations that are going on are to curtail free speech, to limit it, suppress it, and ban it.
To advance the agenda of this particular administration and the globalist agenda.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, too, it was under Reagan when when James Brady was wounded very badly, and his wife Sarah Brady, and we had all the Brady bills, the legislation against various weapons, and it's ridiculous. This is ridiculous, where now free speech is under attack in this country. It has been for a while, but it is getting progressively worse. These people are getting bolder. and they want to silence you. Now, I don't care, folks, if you don't agree with something, and let's say you're absolutely pro homosexual, okay, and you don't agree with what this man said. Just understand that you could be on the other side of the coin. I was going to take that somewhere, but I decided not to, so it came out wrong. But the bottom line with this is, if you don't agree with something and you stick up and you don't stick up for it under the First Amendment, don't expect somebody to come to your aid when your First Amendment rights are going to be violated.
Yeah.
Just so, it's a two-way street, or it should be a two-way street. And it's kind of funny because I'm sure Muslims who the Orthodox Muslims, the fundamentalists who disagree with certain things, why aren't they ever investigated, or why aren't they ever the target of investigations as they should be?
Yeah, I have an interesting story here that went way, way under the radar as a Iraqi, possibly Muslim refugee bombed a Social Security office in Arizona. Did you guys hear that on the news at all?
I caught
no one was hurt.
Headline. Yeah, no one, right.
But he used an IED, and it has been for something, just imagine Timothy McVeigh type, or somebody they dub a right-wing extremist setting off a bomb in a Social Security office. Injuries or not, they would be all over this.
Well, the dirty little secret, yeah, absolutely. But the dirty little secret here is after Desert Storm 1, the Bush administration brought in a whole bunch, I think 5,000 Iraqis, and they never, not one, did they do a background check on these Iraqis that they brought in, these refugees, blanket amnesty without any background investigation. And Joe and I were face to face with more than one in Boston, because of their involvement in the Oklahoma City bombing. Now, I understand people say, well, it was the government was behind Oklahoma City, or they had a hand in it. Yeah, well, look, they didn't do it alone, and there was Iraqi involvement, even to the extent of John Doe 2.
Yeah.
So, who was believed to have gained access to this country, gotten into this country, because of that blanket amnesty. I'm sorry, that was that was under Bush. No, I'm sorry, not the Oklahoma City. After Desert Storm, it was Bush. Bush brought in the Iraqis after Desert Storm. I'm sorry, and yes, one did show up in Oklahoma City, John Doe 2. I just had because of the change of administrations, I want to make sure I was correct. But yes, so that's a very dirty little secret here. So I'm wondering if this couldn't be one of the Iraqis that were allowed in without any type of background investigation into this country.
Yeah, you never know. As we've had let so many people in here with amnesty, no background checks, you see the stories, 2-3-time DUI offenders that are illegal immigrants get to stay and, get everything taken care of, their medical, court costs, whatever. While the average citizen, is being taken advantage of by the government at every step of the way. Everything they try to do, regulated and taxed to death on everything they buy.
This is the plan. This is the globalist plan to take this country in by sheer demographics as well.
Yeah.
To make us a minority. Folks, you're listening to the HAGMANN Ag Report.
When we come back, we're going to get into it's time for a carbon tax, an article out of the New Yorker, and a bunch of other police state news. And we're going to come back with an audio on an interesting take of the Guns for Flu shot program. We'll be right back.
Survival of the fittest. In any and all situations, survival is your #1 priority. That requires being tough and thinking smart. And the folks at Freeze Dry Guy are going to help you do just that. They have the long-range patrol ration entrees, what they call the brick pack. When you're in survival mode, it is absolutely the best item for your survival pack or bug-out bag. You can go farther, faster, and carry more food with the LRP cold weather ration entrees. Not only do these long-lasting, durable entrees help sustain you or your family through the harshest environment or situation, they are by far the most delicious of their kind. No contest. With a variety of tasty entrees, you can't beat the LRP brick packs. Let Freeze Dry Guy help you in your survival situations. Go to freezedryguy.com. That's freezedryguy.com. Or call 866-404-3663. That's 866-404-FOOD.
Hold on to your seat. The HAGMANN and HAGMANN flight is now taking off. Doug and Joe HAGMANN have cleared the runway of TSA agents, jihadists, political crackpots, and global elitists. Now get ready for some real news. Here they are, Doug and Joe HAGMANN.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2 of the HAGMANN and HAGMANN Report this Monday, December 3rd, 2012. I'm going to jump right in here to this audio. This is kind of a satire. It's called Screw the Founding Fathers, Give Up Guns for Flu Shots. This is done by Joshua Owens. You can find this video at the YouTube channel, Joshua Owens.
Are you in need of some cash, maybe in the form of a gift card? Did you forget to get that all-important flu shot this year? Well, it turns out today is your lucky day. Well, next Saturday is your lucky day, if you live in Western Massachusetts. The city is asking citizens to bring in their weapons in return for gift cards. $75 for semi-auto, $50 for handguns, and $25 for long guns. And just to sweeten the prize a little more, the city is also offering free flu shots in return for your weapons. Even if you're a good little citizen and you don't own any weapons, they're still going to give you a free flu shot. Wow, that is nice. I mean, thank God, you know. I mean, it's not like flu shots contain aluminum, formaldehyde, dead human tissue, MSG, and thimerosal. It's not like the majority of flu shots contain 25 micrograms of mercury, an amount considered unsafe by the EPA for anyone weighing less than 550 pounds. Then add on the 2-shot recommendation, and you've got 50 micrograms of toxic mercury. I guess now it can be considered a good thing that 2/3 of U.S. adults and about a quarter of children ages 2 to 5 are overweight or obese. At least now, maybe more people will be a little less likely to be seriously affected or die from the mercury in a flu shot. Even as far back as 1999, the American Academy of Pediatrics and the United States Public Health Service issued a joint statement that because of the neurodevelopmental effects posed by exposure to thimerosal, the vaccines containing them should be removed as soon as possible. But don't worry, they're going to make sure your little one gets vaccinated by whatever means necessary.
Hey kids, we're ready to go. Stop the night virus, that's our goal. So come on everybody, we're getting the shot. It might hurt a little bit, just a little bit, but it's gonna help a whole lot. Hey kids, I'm ready to roll. Stop the night virus, that's my goal. So come on everybody, we're getting the shot. It might hurt a little bit, just a little bit. Ouch, but it's gonna help a whole lot.
Sorry, I was overcome by using my brain there for a second. But no. Vaccines are good. They're good, they're necessary, and they're good. They're good. Okay, back to this buyback program. If you have any weapons that you're wanting to get rid of and you don't live in Massachusetts, don't worry. These buyback programs are popping up all over the country. According to the CNS News, Goods for Guns has collected 2,200 since it started in 2002. So I guess all you enemies of the state out there that actually care about freedom can find some comfort in knowing that gun sales hit a record high on Black Friday, with the FBI reporting over 154,000 background check requests. So I guess one good thing did come from Black Friday. But once again, never mind that. Never mind the fact that there's a clear move to brainwash the population into thinking guns are bad.
One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
Never mind the history of gun control, showing that the seizure of firearms has been habitually used as a precursor to impose a power monopoly of the state. Never mind that back in Roman times, the lower orders were disarmed of all their weapons in order to limit the political power of the people. Never mind that some of the first gun laws in the U.S. were against black people to ensure they remained slaves. Never mind that in 1938, the Nazis banned Jews from acquiring or possessing firearms. And never mind that our current president's administration joined with 150 other governments to renew their support of the United Nations Arms Trade Treaty, which some have warned will set the stage for Americans to have their gun rights voted out of existence by the global body with no involvement from the U.S. Congress or Senate. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that these buyback programs are some plan to completely steal Americans' guns. I think a lot of them are led and initiated by people who have been taught to think that it's best to get as many weapons out of the communities as possible. But I do believe that they are contributing to the larger goal of making you think that owning a gun is dangerous and unnecessary. Wait, no, never mind. Guns are bad. Yeah, guns are bad, so turn them in. And when you do turn them in and get your gift card, don't forget to make sure that you get your free flu shot as well.
And there you have it, just a satirical piece from
kind of lost something in translation on
there was
the video.
One part in there where he went to a kid's commercial or a kid's advertisement of these Barney, what are those, costumes type things, a little kid show or a cartoon, something like that, where the kids were dancing around and singing about getting flu shots. And I know that was hard to understand that part of it.
It actually kind of painful in that, but that's okay.
But no, I thought that was a good job, a good summation of what's really going on. He covered a lot of angles, and I thought it was necessary to play. And that was a part of the CNS News story that he was referring to for the guns for flu shots that we covered during the first hour. But as you see, he said they got, 2,200 guns in 2002 from the program, and I'm sure it's expanded since that, and they're going to continue to expand these programs. And as the gentleman in the video pointed out, in history, throughout history, societies that have turned murderous and decadent against their own people have first collected the guns of the people they are going to oppress. And we see that happening in full steam in America. Yes, there is still the Second Amendment right, but it has been trampled on more than the Founding Fathers ever could have imagined, with local and these ordinances and mandates where cities are gun-free zones, and they're moving to completely get away from any type of person or serf having a firearm. That is the end. They can't come and overtake a heavily armed population. So what do they need to do? Disarm the population. And they need to do it in a way, I would imagine, that would be most peaceful, but it will never be peaceful. But how can they implement this without causing a huge civil war? And there's a couple factors that go into that. One, we said an economic collapse.
Key, yes.
Two, a lack or disconnection of communications would be another some tool they would have to use if they went for just an all-out gun grab. But no, this is upon us. This is real. It's not just fictional talk. There is a animal rights group now wants the NRA to be deemed as a domestic terrorist organization. This will continue. This war on guns will continue. And even if they take all the guns from every citizen in America, my guess would be the murder rate would stay the same or go higher. And then the police and military and the Department of Homeland Security, EPA, Social Security Administration, and all these other governmental police state organizations will have all the guns, and we will have nothing. And what will that leave us with? Nothing. Because they'll come with the guns to take everything else away.
Well, and look, all we have to do is see the gradual, incremental assault on our weapons ability. First of all, they're going after veterans today. Kurt Nimmo from InfoWars talked about this. Charles Schumer from New York made a move in the Senate to deny veterans the right to own firearms. Now, the argument here is this. Senator Tom Coburn, last week, he wanted to amend this defense bill and prevent the Veterans Affairs Department from adding the names of veterans the government designates as mentally incompetent and unable to handle their finances into the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Whoever's listening to this, and if you've ever purchased a gun, what you know right away, you pick out the gun, and the person behind the counter picks up the phone, and it's a simple process. It's called the InstaCheck system. Well, this defense bill included what this was going to do was put the names of any veteran returning home from overseas. If you are unable to handle your finances, okay, their names would be put on this list for the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. It would just take away their right to own a firearm. And you see the sneaky nature of how this is working. This one has nothing to do with the other. This is actually attempting to make the argument, well, if they can't handle their finances, for unspecified reasons, not because they can't add 2 and 2 because of a brain injury or because PTSD has rendered them mentally incompetent, but just for purely financial reasons. Now you can't own a gun. You see how this is incrementally attacking the system, and you've got this politician, Charles Schumer, saying, "Hey, well, I love our veterans. I vote for them all the time. They defend us. But if you're a veteran or not, and you've been judged to be mentally infirm, you should not have a gun." That's not even the issue. That's a fallacious argument here. This is how the process is working under the radar, and you've got the Brady Center backing, these initiatives. Pretty soon, people like us, for example, who have a voice on the airwaves, we're going to be deemed as threats and be unable to purchase a gun. This is where it's going. Folks, this is serious. This is extremely serious. In fact, if you're a diabetic, for example, because that could affect your judgment if you would happen to have, a problem with your blood sugar, you could be put on this list. This is just the start. And the corporate media, the state-run media, is cranking up their anti-gun propaganda machine, especially in the wake of that NFL player.
Yeah.
So
as they continue to work under the radar on gun control and along with the internet want to hand over regulation of our laws over guns to the United Nations. Yes. It seems like Obama wants to hand the control of everything over to the United Nations, which puzzles me. Because
it puzzles you, right?
He is a dictator. He wants the power.
No,
he will have the power, though.
Working for this. And also, folks, look, centralization, that's the key. In fact, Glenn Beck had picked up the article from last week I wrote about the executive order, about what it does, centralizes everything. This is what this is about. The Obamacare is not about affordable health care. It's about centralizing records, much like the income tax was back in the 20th century. This is what's going on. This is the reason behind Obamacare. Well, one of the reasons, but to centralize power. And your rights are going to be eroded through the implementation of this Affordable Health Care Act. But it's the law, people say. Oh, it's a good thing, people say. Yeah, well, Okay, that's what you want to do. Just understand, you're all going to be criminals. We're all going to be criminals if this is allowed to continue. And Obama right now, look, well, do I need to even get into this? John Snyder, who's a Second Amendment activist, wrote last week that confidential sources have told him that the Obama administration may attempt to skirt Congress and outlaw semi-automatic firearms and multiple capacity ammunition feeding devices under Title II National Firearms Act, under the Gun Control Act of 1968. See, this is a multifaceted attack, folks. Their intent is to leave us defenseless. This is what they're trying to do, leave us defenseless.
And sadly, they don't even need to take away guns to do that, as more than half the population is mentally defenseless.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. People don't understand when they're not able to recognize. The majority of people are not able to recognize. If you talk to the average person on the street about what's going on, oh, hey, Obama he's fine with guns. No, you look at what's going on under the radar. Look at what he's attempting to do and has already done under the radar. This is what we need to focus on. Everything that they do, it appears that they've got this alternative, parallel agenda. Yes, it's but to argue this or to have a discussion, for example, on television with somebody like Maddow or Matthews or whoever, it just would not get any traction, and you'd be made to look like a fool. This is how they operate. This is the tactics of the Saul Alinsky bunch. Just the economic aspect, Cloward Piven. The chaos, the gun grabs, if you will, the covert things, Saul Alinsky tactics. You're dealing with Fabian socialism. You're dealing with the communist agenda. And the communist agenda is to disarm as many people as possible. In fact, I don't know, folks, if you saw here, there was a gentleman. In fact, I don't even want to use that term, gentleman, and if that sounds a little bit harsh, perhaps it is. But the American Thinker had an article or put up on YouTube, or reference to YouTube. I think Ann Barnhart actually put up a YouTube about a college professor saying Stalin never committed a crime. Yet Stalin was responsible for the deaths, murders or otherwise, of 43 million people. And here you've got this college professor, tenured college professor, who's got degrees in English literature and what have you, telling everyone. In fact, he wrote a book which was published via the Russian press, or in Russia, a Russian publisher, defending Stalin. This is the communist infiltration of our academia, of higher academia. You think that this is just an exceptional case? No, it's not. This is getting more and more and more normal. The Holocaust deniers. You've got people who are just going on and revising history. These are all communist plans that we knew about back in the 50s, that were read into the Congressional Record in 1963, spoken about by Alan West here just, a few months ago. Michelle Bachmann talked about it. And the outcry against Alan West and Michelle Bachmann was absolutely incredible. So the communist agenda is alive and well. And we need this communist agenda, the softening of this country, the taking away its sovereignty through communism by way of socialism. in order to succumb to the globalism under which we will be slaves. This is what is taking place today. So these are the reasons for all of these stories. You're not hearing about this. Look, you think Brian Williams on the news is going to talk about this stuff? Heck no.
No, I mean, the same people who use it's when it becomes convenient for them to cite history to show people examples. Oh, they'll love to do it when terrorism issues pop up, but when you look at a greater history of government oppression and crimes and murder, mass murder, they don't care to look at that history. They won't explain or bring up that history. They won't tell you that one of the biggest killers in the 20th century has been death by government.
Of course not. No, everything's fine and dandy.
Yeah, it's just really, like we say it is. The mainstream media is just a pile of put together lies by talking heads who want to control the agenda, and that's why we have such terrible media here in this United States. This report I wanted to go to, Australian surveillance out of control, 20% increase in 1 year. Access to private data has increased by 20% by Australia's law enforcement and government agencies, and with no warrant. Australians are 26 times more prone to be placed under surveillance than people in other countries. This local media report concludes, I would say except the U.S., in such a way that the state structures accessed private information over 300,000 times last year, or 58,000 times every week, figures from the Federal Attorney General Department's showcase. The data includes phone, internet account information, details of in- and outbound calls, telephone and internet access location data, as well as everything related to the internet IP address visited, the Sydney Morning Herald reports.
So, Joe, just to be clear, this is happening in Australia, right?
Correct.
Okay, folks.
And not only that, it's happening here. As
right.
an NSA whistleblower, all Americans are under surveillance.
As Joe goes into this, just understand this. You think you're going to run from what's coming? You're not going to run. Where are you going to run to? Australia?
This NSA whistleblower stated everyone in the U.S. is under virtual surveillance. All info is stored, no matter the post, no matter what it's talking about or whatever. All information is stored. No warrants, no probable cause, no indication of a crime. I mean, unless people are posting, violent rhetoric, calls to take violent action, where is the legitimacy in obtaining information that has nothing to do with nothing? I'll tell you where it is.
Where?
Since we live in this completely fascist country now, these data mining companies sell our private information. The NSA sells our information, our hobbies, our activities, our likes, dislikes, to what? Companies who sell these products.
Well, of course, there's an interface that goes on between, for example, customer loyalty cards. Who do you think you don't think the government has a hand in that? Of course they do. These big box stores, big box stores like Sam's Club or Costco or whatever. You don't think that the government knows what you're buying? Of course they do. This is or if you use your credit card to buy 1,000 round or 10,000 rounds of ammunition, of course they're going to know. So just understand that. Now, does that mean that? It's my understanding, based on my research, one of the few free frontiers is PayPal. In the various incarnations of or various PayPal is not as heavily looked upon or under surveillance, and I think there's a few other things too. Amazon, there are places out there. I mean, of course, there are different venues there, but there are other places, online places that are not under strict surveillance. But I just want to share this with you. This weekend, it's more than just surveillance. It's actual it's actual harassment, because remember, too, this does fit into this a little bit more. It's surveillance by the government, but it's also harassment by certain government agencies. I was talking on the what I would consider a relatively secure line of communication. I'm not going to get into how or what, but every time with a particular government person, and every time we began to get into the topic of our conversation, I'm not going to tell you what it was, the line would go dead. And this happened 3 times. We got to a certain point, the line would go dead 3 times in a row. And it stops being humorous. And it was never humorous to begin with, but it stops being tolerable after a while. And I mean, understand this is taking place. This is a real problem.
Listen to this.
It's happening.
Cops to Congress. We need logs of Americans' text messages. State and local and law enforcement groups want wireless providers to store detailed information about your SMS messages for at least 2 years in case they're needed for future criminal investigations. AT&T, Verizon Wireless, Sprint, and other wireless providers would be required to record and store information about Americans' private text messages for at least 2 years, according to a proposal that police have submitted to the U.S. Congress. CNET has learned that the constellation of law enforcement groups have asked the U.S. Senate to require wireless companies to retain information, warning that the lack of a current federal requirement can hinder law enforcement investigations. I wonder where they're going to start worrying about hindering the constitutional rights of Americans. But we know that will never happen anymore in this country.
No, that's, you speak about constitutional rights. As long as we have a constitution that is somewhat relevant, we're still in the fight. But as soon as that constitution is taken out, or as soon as Americans allow that or permit that to be taken out of the equation, we are no longer in the fight.
Yeah.
You understand? I mean, folks, you have to understand how important this is. It is the objective of this administration to bypass not only Congress, but constitutional law. And you talk about appointing federal judges, and I'll say this too. This is no longer a two-party system, Republicans and Democrats. It's no longer conservatives and progressives. It is everything has shifted extremely far left. The people, I mean, look at the political will of the so-called Tea Party Republicans. Now, I'm citing these people because this is what the average person, we discuss this, and you know, well, geez, shouldn't they be fighting for the rights of the people, the constitutional rights of the people? No, they're not. They're acquiescing. We see it on the fiscal cliff. This fiscal cliff, is it important? No. Well, it's important, but in the context in which we're looking at it, it's a Band-Aid on a breached artery. Folks, it's worse. It's not going to solve. There is absolutely no. Even the Ryan budget, the much celebrated by the Tea Party Ryan budget. Oh, what a great, masterful mind Paul Ryan is with the Ryan budget. No. Does it make a difference? Oh, a little bit. But that's like being in debt, or having a household where you're bringing in $50,000 a year and you're spending $250,000 a year, and coming in and saying, you know what? Let me help. I'm gonna save us $300 a year. That's the Ryan budget. That's the best the Tea Party Republican conservatives can do. Some might say, well, that's a start. Is it really? I mean, we're at this point. We're at the point of no return. What do we need to do? Well, it's, as I said at the beginning of the program, We are at the point now where we better start, ladies and gentlemen, we better start, each and every one of us, looking around. You, me, we're going to start looking around, seeing where we are, looking at the people around us. Who lives next to you? What about your dentist, your doctor? What about your mechanic? Are they like-minded? The people within your sphere of operational influence. Can you talk to these people? What are they saying? Are they the same mindset? We need to start gathering. We need to have groups. This is the only way we are going to survive what's coming, is not alone, but with other like-minded people who know that light at the end of the tunnel is not a breath of fresh air, but a huge train coming down, through that tunnel. This is what we need to start doing right now, right this minute. And don't waste time. I mean, at this point, let's get your infrastructure set up. Don't waste time on people don't try to convince someone to do it. Find people that are like-minded, geographically close to you, in your neighborhood, your friends, your family, that you can depend on. Talk about these things. Be proactive. Get yourself mentally ready, and of course, as Joe would say, and I do too, spiritually be spiritually prepared. Know. And folks, in your heart. I know you know. You can feel it. Something has changed. Something is coming down.
Mm-hmm. And
it's coming. And what are we going to do? We're going to just keep, talking about it, drinking coffee and talking about it? No. We need to act on this information. Be proactive. We can do this. We can survive this. In fact, I believe that God has ordered us to survive, or to do our best to survive this. For our kids, for us, for our kids, to advance God's agenda, to do His will.
Until He calls us to.
That's right.
Until it's our time.
But let's be proactive and start getting this group together. And until we can't do it anymore, this is what we're going to need to do, because what's coming is going to be, if you think what's coming, that you're going to be able to survive this by yourself, you're wrong.
And this is a big problem. One thing that the cell phone and electronic age has brought on is, so many people live in cities and around big groups of people but don't know anybody around there. People in America have become socially awkward, isolated
yes.
and socially inept to some degree. But back to this whistleblower, I want to say this. It's called a terrorist surveillance program, and we're the terrorists. NSA whistleblower William Barney, former National Security Agency official, claims the NSA is collecting data on every American. The program has been going on for over a decade, since 9/11. This program of surveillance has been actively collecting email and, more likely, every other communication. The NSA is said to have intercepted 15 to 20 trillion communications since that time. There's a YouTube video, NSA whistleblower, everyone in the U.S. under virtual surveillance. You guys check that out. That is at the Intel Hub, and I'm sure many other places around the Internet. Flyby Media, did you see this? Inside the Beltway, drones for journalists. Here comes the Flyby Media. Preliminary use of diminutive drones is underway along those who seek the potential of drones in news gathering, not to mention invasive gotcha-style journalism. Can we get a drone? Is that in the budget?
You know those planes when you're folks when you were kids, the balsa wood planes that came in a pack. They were like 15 cents each, and I don't know, they came in like 3 or 4 pieces, and you'd throw them. We got one of those. That's in the budget. We can do one of those.
All right, because I want to start.
You don't even know what I'm talking about, do you, Joe?
No. I'm going to start spying on these police officers. But seriously, drones for journalists. There's a part of me that finds this creepy and frightening. Big Brother's with the Big Brother watching issues, says TMC. Oh, I'm sorry. It says Vince Duffy, the chairman of the Radio Television Digital Association. But why wouldn't they get one? Could websites that cover celebrities resist the urge to fly drones over celebrity weddings, outdoor See, they make this about celebrities. The journalists want drones to go invading more privacy. Like, our privacy is not invaded enough. Like, the media and the government couldn't just get together and share their information for a little money-saving program. But seriously, 30,000 drones in the sky, authorized by Congress, the Senate, and the FAA, the President.
You understand this, folks. We already have drones in the sky across in America. We
Phone
already
calls,
have those.
text messages, emails, probably bullhorn shouts, all collected and documented and stored by multiple government agencies, not just the NSA. You got the CIA, you got the FBI, you got all these agencies. You got the EPA using drones on farmers in the Midwest. You have gun grabs going on all over the place in the sense that they're, like we just told you, give your guns for flu shots, not really gun grabs, unless something serious breaks out, a natural disaster. Then they will grab your guns, as evidence from Katrina. You have the Department of Homeland Security preparing for civil war, buying 1.4 billion bullets, along with other government agencies buying lots of bullets, grave liners, setting a bill for the massive Fatality Preparedness Act, all these, what do they call them, the underwater coffin liners, or 200,000 coffin liners here, the pillbox checkpoint, bulletproof checkpoints that the DHS has bought, the millions of those, the TSA expanding to the streets. What more evidence do you need if you're still doubting that the police state is here? It's not only here, it's clamping down on the very last freedoms we have in this country.
Well, you know, and you bring up the evidence and the clamp down. You know, it's amazing to me, and it's disappointing to me. But it also makes me understand at this point where we're at. You know, we had recently the TSA opt-out in Film Week, and you know, it's interesting to see, having looked at during that time period, been able to look at the various airports, not see one bit of passenger resistance, at least evident. Sure, we saw pockets of protests, but you still had people that not a problem. Get nuked, not a problem. Get groped, not a problem. Really? I mean,
get hands down their pants, touching them.
Right.
I mean, there was another journalist who was she said it was rape.
Well, and yes,
it should be classified as that.
I'm just
in her case, yeah.
Yeah, Karen Kaplan. She's the current assistant editor at the prominent science journal Nature. She documented a run-in that she had with the TSA that occurred at Norfolk on November 25th. This should be during this opt-out week. Now, she wrote for the Day news website. She's had 2 decades of writing under her belt. She says she was subjected to an arbitrary, unnecessary, and appallingly invasive TSA pat-down, which more appropriately can be called a sexual assault. Now, okay, at what point do you say, whoa, I'm going to call the police? At what, you know, okay, we've already...
So she can get arrested for filing the report? I mean, really, these guys are on the same side for the most part. We saw the example in Albany, just about people filming and the state trooper saying, or the sheriff saying to the airport manager, get out of here. These people are constitutionally allowed to do what they're doing. They're not causing any problems, blah, 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 blah. It's the First Amendment. And that makes huge news because it's a rare case. And we said this last week. There was a report on Monday from New York. A report on Monday from New York where they made a news story because there was no shootings or stabbings on that day. Why is it a rare case now to see people doing the right thing? It's because of the way our society is.
That's correct. Yes,
and people like Bob Costas who say the guns need to be banned never get behind the real reason why people are committing these crimes. This guy was all messed up on drugs and alcohol. He had numerous head injuries. They're not talking about the society collapsing around us as people like Bob Costas are sucked into the sports world that is their god, entertainment. I think we broke it down on the show before. One man put it very nicely. Men are lovers of pleasure, lovers of entertainment, lovers of self, lovers of money, or lovers of God. And there could be more or less there, but the main one is lovers of God. You should be, but most people are lovers of something else. People worship different things, like football. You know, like people I'm talking about can recite every stat, every player's name, cares only about that, listens to, and I used to be like that. Not necessarily only caring about that, but that was the main focus of my life. I mean, I liked football. I liked getting involved in that, and that's because I didn't have direction then. I didn't have or know the importance of the Lord then, or what was going on in my country. And as I'm doing what I'm doing now, I've watched 3 football games this year, only because I was visiting with my mom, and that's something we used to always do is watch the Bills play. So when I go visit her on Sundays and they're on, we watch it.
Well,
but it's not. I used to set my schedule around.
Yeah, I know you did.
And now you see how the switch is, and it's just more people would realize you could still have football, just don't make your whole life around it. Because if your life is not around the Lord Jesus Christ,
that's right,
you're lost. I mean, enjoy the football here while you got it, because your future is not looking good.
No, not at all. Everyone's got to have downtime. But see, okay, we have a growing list of people with respect to the TSA. We have a growing list of people, influential people have gone through and been violated. You've got senators, you've got congressmen, you've got Geraldo Rivera, and others.
Yeah, you told me something about Geraldo.
Yeah,
you want to get into it? It might be worth it if you want. But go ahead.
No, I'm not going to. No. But all of these people that have influence, much more than we have, much bigger megaphones, microphones, and whatever than we have, why aren't these people, like Geraldo Rivera and the congressmen, senators, putting their putting their foots down? Why aren't they putting their feet down and saying, you know, look, we're not going to put up with this? They are in a position to change, okay, and certainly we can as well. But these people are if you are on a network like Fox or CNBC or NBC or CBS, ABC, or if you write for the Los Angeles Times, New York Times, or if you're a lawmaker, why are these lawmakers not going after this? And with respect to the lawmakers, obviously it's a money issue. It's follow the money, and of course every one of these people, I believe, are compromised in some way, shape, or form. So if they try to go out and do something like this, they won't. But what about the media? What about the big media? This has got to stop. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're take, you know what, I don't even care if you want to email me about this, but if you're a guy and with a wife or daughter or mother, aunt, sister, whatever, and you go through an airport and you allow this to happen to your female family member, then shame on you. You're not a guy. You're not a man. If you allow that to happen to them, you're not. No, you're not. Certainly not by my standards, anyway. All right.
No, you're right. And it's absolutely insane that anybody would be that, what would you call it, brain dead, out of touch, out of reality, to the point where you'd let your child be touched like that.
That's right. And where are all the Christian conservatives?
Yeah.
See, I can understand the sick, twisted mentality of the progressive mindset, but where are all the Christian conservatives? Where are you?
Right, and I want to say this to that point. I saw an interesting video on Jamie Foxx calling Obama the Lord and Savior. The video was made by, I think the guy's YouTube channel is Common Sense something. He talks about, he made a good analogy. He said, imagine if George Bush, if Garth Brooks came out at a country song or concert and declared George Bush to be the Lord and Savior, how crazy the media would have gone. I mean, how absolutely insane they would have done.
And I would have.
How the
black
Christian leaders, the white Christian leaders would talk out about against it. But where is the black church on these issues? Are they not outraged at the blasphemy being portrayed by Jamie Foxx, and for Obama not to make that right and say, you know, Mr. Fox, I appreciate your endorsement, but let's keep the Lord's name out of this. You would think if these people were Christians, that's what they would do. You'd think they'd have more respect for the Lord, but they don't, because they're not on the same side.
This is a moral issue. This is a spiritual issue. This is one could make an argument that this could be a First Amendment issue, but at this point, you're looking at spiritual bankruptcy. You're looking at a despicable display, a despicable human being, and the very people who endorse and back this type of behavior themselves are despicable. But see, here's the issue. Once again, things are happening right before us. It's like a magic act playing out, and we're the dupes. They're laughing at us. The globalists are laughing at us. It's about time we understand that. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at me. They're laughing at us.
Yeah, they are. They're laughing at us. I mean, think of where they're sitting. They are the controllers of our money, the controllers of all the power, the military power, the governmental agency power. They have the UN, the World Bank, the IMF as their underlings. I mean, they have the global economy on lockdown. It's just not consolidated yet. It's not even about the money anymore. It is about, one, the power. And why is that power important? To further the agenda of the finishing of the last days, the Luciferian agenda, the making Earth a place to accept their new world teacher, as we know him, the Antichrist or the false prophet. That is their main agenda, to set up a new world order system, a system that would be able to implement the mark of the beast type system, have all control, way more than they do now, and you guys know what I'm talking about. That's what they're working towards, day in and day out.
And I think
all their different organizations, the CFR, Bilderberg, Trilateral Commission, the Vatican, whatever you want to throw in there. Every group that is working behind the scenes to oppress and work towards this Luciferian overthrow of the world, as prophesied in the Bible, they're doing it. They're implementing it in full view of the people, and only those with the knowledge of the Lord are able to see it.
And that's by design, because John was told up.
I read this comment in the chat. God's dog said, just like in Noah's day, they quit laughing when they drowned, and that's right. It's sad, but it's right. Because
I agree with it.
As in the days of Noah. But another verse.
But wait a second, though. But wait, look. You just knocked me off my thought stream there.
Well, somebody brought this to my attention. I don't know the book or verse it's in, but it also refers to in the end days it will be like the as Jonah was. And somebody had asked me, what do you think this means? And what happened to Jonah? He was put into a whale's belly after refusing or not going to do what God wanted him to do. For how long? For 3 days, right? 3 days or 3 nights. And I thought about the 3 days of darkness, because they say it'll be like the days of Noah, and they will go through what Jonah went through. And we know that there will be 3 days of darkness. And I just wanted to point that out. If you guys come across that verse or whatever, we'll do more on that later, definitely. But keep that in the back of your mind, because that is important. As me and my dad are going through and going to really start going through end times prophecies, and I'm talking chalkboards and notes and lining up these prophecies, lining up current events, trying to figure out not what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but get a good idea of where we really are. And we're going to need the help of people like Pastor Langford, like a lot of the other good guests we have on the show.
Lindsey Williams will be coming back, soon. Lindsey Williams, we had an exchange of emails this morning. I'll probably be talking to him by phone tomorrow. He'll be coming on as well, Pastor Lindsey Williams. But okay, and Pastor Langford and others. You're right.
And I want to get Augusto Perez back on the show. I want to get Bill Salas. We haven't had him on in a while, and there's a few other people that we haven't had on in a while, reoccurring guests and new guests we are working on. And tomorrow you and me are going to sit down and put together a list. And that's something we have to do. And as I stated earlier,
Russ Dizdar, by the way, is out of the country.
Lindsey Williams, Russ Dizdar, starting in January, I think. But we're going to line up some...
Lindsey Williams this month.
Okay.
Or like within the next several days.
But we're having a HAGMANN and HAGMANN meeting tomorrow because we haven't been together this weekend or really much of today.
No, it's not my problem. No. but here's the thing too, folks. Like I said, when you knock me off my train of thought here, and I truly believe this, what we would regard as the beginning of the end times, is right in front of our noses. It is right before us. Because think about how these globalists, how these elitists, think about how these Satanists operate. They operate, although sometimes in the shadows, they operate out in the open. It's a magic show. Right before our eyes, it's a magic show. And our attention gets diverted by this or by that. But you know what? If you know what to look for, it's kind of like this. I don't know how many people have seen a magic show. They go to a theater and they see the trick perform where somebody saws the girl in half.
Right.
Okay. And it's magic.
Right.
Okay. No one's getting cut in half. It's magic.
It's a diversion. The real illusion is taking place, but away from.
But the thing is though, if I tell you right before the trick how they're going to do it, or during the trick, if we explain to you how they're going to do it and how they are doing it, don't say it ruined the surprise, obviously. But no, I don't. No, in fact, I'm not looking. But they're doing it now, right before us. And everyone's getting sucked into this magic trick. Everybody, all the people, they're getting sucked into it. But what we want to do is we want to tell you, this is the magic. This is how they're doing it. And because I don't believe after such a lot of research, I don't believe it's that difficult to identify. Well, I mean, I don't think it's that mysterious to identify. Once you know what to look for, you can get most of it. Maybe not all of it. 60%, 70%, 80%, I don't know. But that's better than nothing. That will keep you alive, knowing that information. My people will perish for lack of knowledge. We need that knowledge. that knowledge is so important, and we need to understand what's going on. And here's the thing. The end times ship has left the dock. It's on its way. So we can't mess around. We've got to get together. We've got to prepare. We've got to understand what we're seeing and then act on the information.
Yeah, and it is always been on the way. We are now really seeing
cranked
things.
Up the engines.
Just imagine what would happen to the rest of the world if America fell. I mean,
you don't think America is going to fall?
An
America is
icon
going to fall.
of freedom. It's really the last home front of freedom. However manipulated that has become.
Wait, since we're having this discussion, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you, let me go to the chat area here. Let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat room, where are all the major global banks, or most of them? Where are they located? Any ideas?
Well, there's three main places where the world economy is run out of: New York, London, and
outside
Beijing.
Of Switzerland. But the real centralized bank. That's right, Great Britain, England, London. Okay, now think about this. What was the British Empire? The sun never set on the British Empire. They want to bring that back again. Are we not seeing that take place right now? And think about this, folks, and I'll kind of twist your mind a little bit, maybe, but give you something to think about. Remember the Olympics this year? Remember how everyone was talking, something's going to happen at the Olympics, and there could be some false flag at the Olympics. What if I said a whole bunch of stuff happened at the Olympics? A whole bunch of stuff right before our very eyes happened at the Olympics. But no one, or very few, recognized it. See, that's what's going on. So what would happen, too, if the U.S. dollar crashed? Who'd pick up the pieces? And it will crash. Obviously, certain things, but start thinking in these terms. Start thinking in those terms. Look at everything. Go back and look at things. Look at the London, or look at the Olympics in London. Look at what happened there. Look at the symbology there.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the show. And you had some really interesting input on this, and I don't know, we should do a show on this week, as there's so many angles to cover here. But I know you don't have all the information put together, ready to go properly. You're still looking into things. But you have some pretty interesting theories. Some theories I've looked through and researched in the past. And when you brought them up to me tonight, I was surprised because you were going down a road that I went down maybe a year, 6 months ago. You're right on my tail and catching up quick on this.
I'm right on your tail.
Occult knowledge, research, the symbology, the different tools and channels and ways they use to manipulate, send messages, and give basic secret symbols and codes to other people to know the time and what's going on, even though we'll use the Olympic ceremony. There could have been something done in that ceremony to someone halfway across the world to indicate to them that something is beginning. An example. So it's awesome to see you going down this road, and I know in probably 2 days you'll be 10 miles ahead of me. But that's all right.
Here's what I think. I think that the timing, dates play a major role. Dates play a major role. Numbers play a major role. Symbols play a major role. And we've said before, you got to think like, you don't have to believe like they believe. You just have to understand how they believe and what they believe and how they think. You don't have to agree with them, and certainly you shouldn't agree with them. When I say them, I'm talking about the Illuminati.
Why? It's so easy. Why not just take the chip and take their food and their shelter and their work brigades. I mean, they have shovel-ready jobs.
Sure.
Shovel your own grave.
Yeah, that's right. So,
I mean, they will do everything for you. Health care, death panels. It'll be the quickest death panel. At least you won't have to wait and suffer through Obamacare. Your food will be there. Yeah. I don't know if you'll get to eat any. Transportation's provided.
No,
lodging's provided for however long you're alive.
You'll be your own children. I mean, there's a. I mean, the plan is, there's a plan to starve people.
I can just see now. Free everything. Come to our new society. Residential living centers, where you will be given a job, food, safety, health care. You just must turn in your guns.
I'm ready
become a ward of the state. I mean, and it's as simple as this: voluntary prisons.
Yeah,
voluntary prison. And people will walk into it, hands open, happily, thinking they're going to get something from the government. Well, this time they will get something. That something will be death. Hopefully we don't travel down that road. Sadly, I see us headed right there. And we're up against the top of to the end of hour 2 already, so fast. We're going to take your phone calls in the third hour, 661-244-9839, as well as cover the rest of the news tonight that we have on schedule. Folks, you're listening to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. This, December 3rd, 2012. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. Doug Hagmann here. You might know me as the co-host from the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, or as a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. If you're like me, you're tired and confused over today's headlines. You just don't know where to turn for accurate, concise information about really what's going on, what's truly going on in today's society. If you don't know where to turn for accurate, well-researched, and properly vetted news, I've got a suggestion. In fact, it's a requirement. Bookmark Canada Free Press. That's CanadaFreePress.com on the Internet. It's just not for Canada. It's for news across the world. Judy McLeod, founding editor, has put together a vast array of talented writers like Kelly O'Connell, Daniel Greenfield, Dr. Eilena Johnson-Powell, a lot of guest columnists, very talented writers. Folks, that's Canada Free Press at CanadaFreePress.com. Now mobile friendly. Follow on Facebook, because without America, there is no free world.
If you are stumped, you don't know what kind of gift to give to a friend or a loved one, I'm telling you, you must go to 4physics.com. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. This is your one-stop shopping palace. That's the only way I can put it. I could spend easily an hour on this website. Innovative, fun, educational. There are games, books, weather instruments, unique time-telling devices, jewelry, optical devices, laboratory equipment. Let me give you an example. We all know we can tell time with a sundial. You've seen those advertised. Did you know that you could tell time by the stars? At 4physics.com, you can buy a horologium nocturnum. This was a navigational device used in the 15th century by navigators at night to tell time by the stars. It's beautifully crafted in the shape of a pendant made of bronze and pewter or gold and silver. Absolutely a stunning gift. I would be proud to give it to anyone. You must go to 4physics.com. Even if you're not stumped, that's 4physics. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. It's your one-stop shopping palace. Any problems that you have, I don't know what to get Grandpa, I don't know what to get my loved one, that's unique, you will find it at 4physics.com. Please take my word for it. Go to the website, but give yourself a lot of time because you're not going to want to leave. 4physics.com.
Doug Hagmann. One guy that doesn't need a bullhorn to get your attention.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 3 of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. This first show of December, our 200th anniversary episode on Blog Talk Radio, December 3rd, 2012.
Yeah, and show number 200, folks.
On Blog Talk Radio. We
on
did
DPR, yeah, that's right.
About, a quarter of the year on another network.
Yeah.
But on Blog Talk, since 2011, starting in March when we started our show every Saturday, we did that until the end of January, and we started doing every night since then. But on Blog Talk, episode number 200, whatever that's worth.
Well,
and it couldn't be done without you guys.
I was going to say whatever that's worth, but you know,
I mean, as far as the numbers concerned.
No, I know, in 40 countries, downloads in 40 countries, and well over 2 million downloads.
On Blog Talk alone, not including the YouTube videos and different outlets that the word gets out. And a lot of it is thanks to you guys who copy the YouTube videos, who copy the episodes, put them on YouTube, who stream the show live, who share the articles, who pray for us, who send donations, whatever you do to help the show, monetary, your own time, spreading information, prayer is so appreciated. We can't even explain how much we appreciate the blessings because we cannot do this alone. We need you, regardless of any money. We just need you, period. And we such appreciate the listenership we have. We just want to thank each and every one of you.
We got the nicest note, by the way, today.
Yeah, I got it right here.
A gentleman, we won't give his name or his full name.
This is funny.
Send us
how it was sent. I love it.
We'll go ahead and my wife went to the post office today and picked this up out of the box and she opens up the envelope and
somebody sent us a donation and included a beautiful note.
Yeah, it's written on.
I'm going to just read the note
because
it's in here. It says, since I have no paper to write on, I am using this receipt from the post office. Oh, well, the method reflects the intent. I want to thank you all for your radio program, as it has been an incredible blessing to me. I thank our gracious God for real men who have passion for truth. Don't compromise. I think it says events. I have no doubt that you would not ever compromise, but I just want to encourage and edify you and bear witness. I received a really profound word from the Lord back in August. I was wrestling with some sins, as we all do, and as He helped me through them, He impressed upon me the time for lukewarm is over.
That's right.
I won't forget that ever. The time for lukewarm is over. I've been a truth seeker since my dad taught me how to tune into shortwave. Now 30 years old, I grew up hearing Steve Quayle and Alex Jones, Norm Reskin, etc., and what a blessing. As a kid today, mostly grow up with Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga, and I completely disagree with that, and it is a big concern of mine. I'm so happy. What you are doing for young kids is phenomenal. Your radio show is educating with info that is largely unavailable, and I applaud your hard work, diligence, humility, and sacrifice. As I stand here in the post office, I watch a line of people waiting for assistance. I wonder how many of the people get it. Probably not many, but your show is on a while, and I ponder, and it does my heart good to know that. The Lord has led me to be an intercessor for the watchmen and truth seekers, so I want you to know you men are always in my prayers. God works in awesome ways. Please use this for any means. We may never meet, but if I don't see you on this path, I'll see you at the finish line. Your brother in Christ.
I love
on
it.
the back of a post office receipt.
Yeah.
I mean, how wonderful. And folks, we receive thank you letters all the time, and we should read more on air because we have tons of them. And we don't want to do it because to bolster ourselves for our show, but just to let people know that it is having an effect on other people's lives. And we receive all kinds of letters and emails saying the same thing. But this was just so unique and nice, I really wanted to read it. We wanted to read it.
I mean, the time that it must have taken that young man to do that, the print is very small. If you can imagine a post office receipt that's very thin and long. Thank you so much, and God bless you, for that. But
somebody here is reporting or talking in chat, talking about the 4 Gospels of the New Testament, and one thing I forgot to mention about the person who made the YouTube video about Jamie Foxx calling Obama the Lord and Savior. He says, "Thank you. Now there is a 5th gospel, the gospel of Barack Hussein Obama," and he was being satirical, and he said a number of things in here where he was going through, he was just making stuff up. He said, I think verse 4 says, "Thou shalt deceive the people." I mean, it was just great. But yeah, I mean, really, what are these people thinking? They pay more attention to Obama's lies than the truth in the Bible.
It's a shame.
Sad.
Yeah, it really is. And but hey, you know what?
What?
Yeah.
What?
No, look, things are pretty serious right now, and I just cannot convey how serious and exactly how dire things are. I don't want to look. Yeah, I mean it's I don't want to go overboard here, but it worries me that people are not seeing. We're still there's still people arguing about oh my goodness, Karl Rove, and there's still people arguing about whoever the person on the right or left would be, and there's still do these people just not get it, or are they paid to deflect away from the issues? People laugh at conspiracy. Even some of the more, a lot of conservatives, Christian conservatives, or even Jewish conservatives will laugh and say, "Oh, yeah, you're just a conspiracy whack job." But wait a minute. There is a conspiracy. There is a conspiracy. It's happening right before our eyes. It's taking place. It's in the Bible. It's actually documented in the Bible. Look at the Bible. Read the Bible. What is it that you're not getting? Why aren't you getting this? And I get email after email after email writing about Benghazi. Well, what can we do about this? What can we do about this? Well, how many people have to ask, what can we do about it, before somebody says, all right, let's do something? I mean, at some point, it's frustrating to me. It's very frustrating to me because, I don't know what to do about it except something. Let's all get together. Like I said at the beginning, we need to better start preparing. We better start knowing that we cannot get through this alone. Getting together, arranging our groups, getting in our groups close in proximity, like-minded people. Let's start there. Let's do that. At least that's a start. You can do that from the comfort of your own home, your own neighborhood. Talk to people that you take, at the school bus stop, or your neighbors. Like I said, whoever you interact with on a daily basis, just kind of get the feel, see where they're at. Maybe you can talk with them. Start there. But do it quickly, because time is short. Time is getting shorter. And we're going headlong into this. And somebody, I saw something pass by a little bit ago. What am I researching? What am I think that was a question, or what am I using to research, or something to that effect. Well, geez, I don't know. Pick a book. Petrus Romanus, for one. I mean, there's just so many. It would not do you any good to know what I'm looking at, only because they're all just at the periphery of the main issue here. So
okay, we're going to move on to the phone lines. We have some information about the Feel Good Foundation. and their work with 9/11 first responders. Jason's going to give us this information, and we're going to have to contact these people. Jason, you're live on the Hagmann and Hagmann.
No, Phil, you got the
Phil,
wrong. You got
Phil,
Phil,
I'm sorry.
not Jay.
You're on
That's
Jason's
okay. I
account.
guess we're items and we're together, you know.
All right.
All right. The group that gave me, let's see, over the past 3 or 4 years, I ran into trouble 3 times. They gave me like $4,000 in rent arrears over 2-year period, and they help out all first responders besides doing the legislative advocacy in Congress and helping us get past the Detective James Droga bill. Now they are at a financial impasse. CBS TV New York did a story. They are out of money and they need desperately to raise funds. I would love you to get them on air, Joe and Doug. It would be a conflict of interest for me to get involved with that because I have my own show, and to air my own, what would benefit me is a conflict. Unlike, other areas, I do have some moral values, and I will not get involved in conflicts of interest.
Well, I'm not even sure, Phil, I'm not sure what you mean. Get involved in what?
To me, if I raise money, there's a chance, if the federal government goes belly up, that I would benefit from foundation money. And for me to ask, for handouts for the same foundation and I'm going to benefit from, to me, feels like a conflict of interest.
Yeah, and they've helped them in the past.
I'm
so for me,
I'm still missing something. Phil, I'm still missing something.
The Feel Good Foundation.
John Peel, the lab mouth who you see on television all the time, who went to Washington, who stood with Gildebrand and Peter King of Long Island.
Okay.
Fighting for the first responders, all the cops that live out there, the firefighters that live out there, that were at the pit on 9/11. That is the group I'm talking about.
Okay. And
they're out of money. They're about to shut their doors.
Okay.
Money.
So what you're saying?
In other words, there will be no more grants to first responders until the Droga payout. And who knows when that's going to come.
Until
I'll
what
believe it when I see it.
Until what happens? There's no money until what happens?
When the federal government starts paying out the Droga next year, which is what they're supposed to do, but they haven't done that yet.
Okay,
they're breaking their knuckles, waiting for us to die. Basically, is what I see it. But that's my opinion.
Okay, and
I'm not on the board of that organization. Otherwise, I would be a lot more vocal.
Okay. So in other words, you're saying that you would, help me out with this. Finish this sentence, though. Finish this sentence. Now listen carefully. If I was not...
John Fieldwood Foundation closes its doors, if there is no money left, then there will be not another grant to a single first responder ever again until Uncle Sam pays out what they promised.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to be able to.
But Phil, hang on a second. Okay, listen to me. I want you to finish my sentence. Okay, I'll tell you when to finish it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would. Wait a minute. Now you got me all screwed up here.
Okay, that's all right.
If I hadn't benefited from this organization before, I would. Now finish that sentence.
I would definitely put them on air right now. I would go and I would call John Field and all the board of directors and have them plug their group.
Oh,
the fact that I benefited, I should not.
I got you.
They help so many first responders, and they're in danger of not being able to do that anymore.
All right. Look, you know what, Phil? Sometimes you got to talk to me like I'm like 6 years old. Okay. Seriously.
Oh, come on, Doug.
No, I didn't.
You're a lot smarter than that. How long have you been an investigator? Well, you're a lot smarter than that, Doug.
I wasn't quite getting it.
Yeah, he didn't send him the messages you sent me here, and he wasn't sure what we were talking about. I don't even know if he was familiar with John Field's Foundation.
So no, and we're willing to do that because I think that this is an important thing, Phil. I mean,
when we talk amongst ourselves, I'm not going to get into it because it's confidential, but we talk of what we saw that day. We're not going to, we don't want to ruffle the Uncle Sam right now. But what I will say is we all know what's going on.
Right. No.
And I keep telling, I said, John, do you actually think they're going to pass that? And he said, yeah. I said, well, and I said, what happens if my kidney fails and 2 years from now, when they sunset? Are they going to refund it? The government don't have money.
Yeah.
They're pulling it out of thin air. Come on, John. I said that to him. He said, when there's a will, there's a way. God brought us this far. I said, yeah, but God also has a plan, which you got to recognize. And he's not where he needs to be, but I want to get him on air.
Well,
we
can reach out. No, that's fine. We can reach out to them and see what we can do for them.
I got to talk to you anyway this week, Phil. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you did. Oh, definitely. I'm off tomorrow. Actually, I guess Jason might have told you that.
Okay.
I didn't get a minute off the phones all day. Let me tell you.
Well, that could be a good thing in some cases, right?
Well, it actually is a good thing. That means we're needed.
Okay.
Well, it's always good to be needed. Well, God bless you, my friend. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah. And by the way, thanks for all the guidance and help that you gave myself and Jason. We really appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem.
Thank you for doing what you're doing, Phil. You're getting the word out there. Important stuff, and we can't thank you enough.
We had a great show with Stan, by the way. It was. I thoroughly enjoyed having him on.
Yeah, I caught part of it. I got a bookmark to listen to later. Anything else?
He caught a kidney stone.
Oops. Sorry, I cut you off. You have a good night, Phil.
That's right. That's okay. That's the software. No, he caught a kidney stone over the weekend, and we were scrambling to get him, but he called in. He's a man of his honor, let me tell you. Not many people out there would come on air for lying in bed with a kidney stone without taking morphine or Percocet or some other drug. The man deserves a pat on the back. He is truly one of God's people.
Well, he is indeed. We have a lot of respect for Stan Deo and Holly Deo, both. God bless them.
I love both of them. And as a matter of fact, I want to ask her, but she don't like the limelight. I do want to bring her on air, though.
She's pretty shy. She was on our show for a while.
For like 15 minutes, half hour.
Yeah,
I want to talk about actual survival for people with disabilities, like myself and others, how people are going to survive the coming mess, basically, is what I want to focus in on, because there's special needs groups.
Well, this is what that's exactly what we need to focus on. We need to work together because, like I said, everyone is going to need to understand that they're not going to get through what's coming by themselves. If you think you are, you're wrong. You're going to have to start, widening your groups. Let's start getting groups together among our family, extended family right here.
Organizing.
Exactly.
It's about time we start organizing.
That's right.
Doug.
That's right.
I mean, we need people to.
We don't have that much time left, Phil. We really don't. In my heart of hearts, I don't
know how much time we got, but we need to be maybe this year, next year, or the year after. Most the way I see it, 2 years. I think my own roommate, his name is Jason. He's caught up in the normalcy bias. Well, I got to get involved, and I got to get a job here. I said, Jay, this is New York City. When the EBT riots start, what are you going to do? This is Spring Creek. This is East New York, for God's sake. I got to get you out of here. Go to your sister in North Carolina. Do something, but don't stay here, please.
Yeah.
And he says, I want to keep your apartment. I said, don't keep my apartment. It's been here forever. It will be here until I'm gone. Just come. Come here, go there, but do not stay here, I told them.
Well, God bless you, Phil.
That's good.
We'll be talking tomorrow. You take care and have a good night.
Yeah, I definitely will call you, and I'm going to get some good sleep tonight.
All right. Take care.
Good night.
We cut him off. There we go. Well, that's all right. Thanks, Phil. All right.
We got another caller on the line. Crazy Granny. Going live on the HAGMANN Report. What's on your mind?
I can't wrap my head around that, so that's okay.
Hello, Doug. Hello, Joe. How are you guys tonight?
Very well.
Okay, I'm going to go through this as quickly as possible so I don't take up too much time. Let's start with, I know that you're researching this occult stuff. I have been doing that for a long time. I pray before I do it. And I'm a new Christian. And I think I told you before I've been having difficulties with churches. Anyway, long story short, I haven't given up. I have the internet. I love Christ, and I won't give up. Having said that, I want to get to the point. Luciferianism and the religion of the elitists. Picasso, an artist, it's a quote from Picasso, but it fits in with the Luciferian agenda. An artist must discover the way to convince his public of the full truth of his lives. Okay, going on to abortion. You had mentioned earlier in the show, you were talking about, the gun control, and this. I want to send my regrets to the family of the man that, died, the football player. But again, guns, people kill people.
That's right.
Having said that, also, I want to get into some of the things I looked at, and you can go and check this out. Also, Doug, I think it is, Joe's son. Okay. And it was called the Awareness Women's Abortion Clinic in Melbourne, Florida. Now, on August 4th, 1992, Veronica Jordan and Rebecca Morris registered a nonprofit religious corporation, which was called the Wiccan Religious Corporation of Florida, or WRCF. So just remember, WRCF is Wiccan Religious Corporation of Florida.
Right.
They did it, and you can check that date since you're into dates, August 4th, 1992. I hadn't gotten into that aspect of it. However, the stated purpose of this WRFC is to provide an umbrella organization for witches, witch covens throughout the state of Florida. The incorporation papers listed 2 abortion clinic employees, its directors, Aware Women Center for Choice, Florida's largest abortion clinic. Going on, shortly after they incorporated, the founder and one of the, it was founded, Carol Ebbing, another Aware woman in the abortion clinic, ordered a book called The Sacrament of Abortion, which was written by a woman called Jeanette Harris, Ginnette. In the book, she states that Jeanette states presents abortion as a sacrifice to Artemis, who refuses to give life if the gift is not pure. One of their newsletters, steps are being taken to protect not only aware women, but a woman's right to choose. Work is being done mundanely, financially, and magically to help get through the next few months and beyond. Individuals in the group help to magically protect the building property. They claim they magically and psychically shield it. Dallas Bernard, B-L-A-C-H-A-R-D, I don't want to get there, I get nervous, professor of sociology, University of West Florida. Those who favor choice tend to be non-religious as a whole, a lot of them. The activists, the escorts of the clinic are, so forth, right-out pagans, overtly pagan. And so we have a religious war, in a sense, going on here. I'm going to move over to Patricia Bernard Wendell. You practice your religion, I practice mine. Mine is the religion of a holy ritual child sacrifice. Another woman, Ingrid Long-de-Soul-de-Derriere, she was a feminist social student. A fetus is technically a parasite, so abortion is like removing a tapeworm. I'm giving you a mindset if you kind of get where I'm going with this.
It's very clear where the it's very clear what these people are doing, and this is all about a blood sacrifice, and people might think, oh, come on.
That's where I'm going with it.
No,
and I'm not laughing. I'm laughing like I don't know what else to do.
See, and people have to understand it's not how we normal non-psychopaths think. It's about what they think, and they consider this blood. It's a blood sacrifice. A lot of these, okay, and it's. I mean, this is what in a lot of respects, this is what 9/11/2012 was. Benghazi, a blood sacrifice. 9/11/01, a blood sacrifice. And when people start realizing, and look, I understand how people could say, "Oh, come on, you're an idiot," but no, you're right. See, okay, and there's an admission.
To go on, 9/11, which killed 2,819 people in New York City. Keep in mind, versus 3,300 abortions per day in the U.S. Where's the genocide?
Right.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I get really...
No. It is...
This infuriates me. And it just infuriates me because this is the stuff. They registered this. Why was this not on the news? Why are they not reporting on it? Another thing I had to say that... Because I've been doing a lot of research, and this was something that I found. It was that as evolutionary thought was polarized, oh gosh, I hate that when I get nervous. The idea of the Luciferian agenda was polarized along with it.
See, okay, very good.
Because I can't go into every single thing. You want to know how far back it goes, you have to go far back. And then this is a quote, oh, shut up. We shall have world government, whether or not we like it. No, actually, I think that was they like it. Sorry. They like it. I have notes everywhere. Right. The only question is whether world government will be achieved by conquest or by consent. This is James Warburg. I think I pronounced that right, in 1950.
Paul Warburg, I believe.
Oh, and just to let you know, did you ever check that, do you know the Rockefellers, right, donated the United Nation building?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what that United Nation building was before it was the UN?
The slaughterhouse.
Thank you. It's a big thing because there's other quotes I could go into, but I'm probably I signed my own death warrant anyway. But
you're right on the money. It's perfect.
But it's okay. If I die for Christ, I die right. Okay. Point being, when I try to educate people, my family included, they all think I'm nuts. That's why I call myself Crazy Granny. My entire family thinks I'm crazy. For becoming a Christian. Because I was into the New Age movement and all that Shirley MacLaine stuff, and I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. As I was writing this stuff down in these notes that I found to get ready to tell you about this, I had wrote Isaiah 14:13 through 14 somewhere. I don't know why I wrote that down. It's just something I had written when I was doing that, and I don't know what. Anyway,
here's one thing I want to tell you, though. Okay, as you know, when you deal with family, and some of the closest family members will, the saying "familiarity breeds contempt." Well, some of the closest, I mean, seriously, some of the people closest to you will think you're Looney Tunes, and especially when you start talking about the dollar crashing and things getting very bad. But when it does start to happen, they'll be the first ones coming to you and saying, "Hey, what were you talking about before? That what's going to happen now? What do we need to do?" So I wouldn't worry too much about what they think.
No, it doesn't bother me anymore. In fact, I try to joke about it. The thing that makes me really sad is when I try to witness to them. Right. That doesn't work because they believe. My one sister says all religions are passed to God. She sounds like Oprah. My other sister's so into the Kabbalah, I don't know if I can bring her back.
Wow.
I don't know where my mother sits. And so that becomes a whole quagmire. My aunt, however, is the one that prayed for me, and I think that's why I'm a Christian today. Also, the fact that a series of bad things happened. I got divorced in 2009. Into 2008, 2009, I got diagnosed with an illness that it's just another, they don't even know what it is. They just keep throwing pills at me. The point is, even with all that bad stuff, the divorce, all of that, I thank God because I would have never come to him had all of that stuff hadn't happened, and I was in this position. And my ex isn't a bad person. I think he's great. He's a good dad, loves his son, and he's been very good to me, and I've been very blessed. I thank God every day. So having said that, no, family's always there with their hands out. And I don't mean, I have no begrudge that. I'll help them as much as I can until I can. And, one of the things that I think bothers me the most is I hunted around for churches. And I was hunting, and I don't mean, maybe hunting isn't the correct term. But going to churches, sitting there, looking around, just trying to feel the Holy Spirit, trying to feel something. And it was just this sort of legalism I ran into. Like I say, I don't have a tattoo that's disgusting. It was a little moon. I wish I could get it taken off. I kind of keep it as a reminder of where I was and where I am now. I don't think God cares too much about that. But it was strange because people don't talk to each other in the church. And I'm not bragging about anything, and I really do mean this. I think it's all God. But one of the girls was very distressed. I hardly talked to anybody, but I remember walking and going, what's going on? She's a single mom with a child, and she just kind of looked at me and said, talk to me. And because she wouldn't talk to me. And she said, well, the pastor's not here. I said, so talk to me. Well, I don't have any money. And I'm like, oh, okay, not a problem. Not a problem. I've got something. Let me help you. And she just seemed totally shocked. And to me, it just seems like if it's a church and we're a family, why shouldn't she be able to talk to each other? Why couldn't we all help each other? But that's not what I'm witnessing. I'm witnessing they're either singing in a band. Nobody is talking about what's going on in the pulpit. I'm so angry about that Obama thing and the fact that they did that picture of him stretched out like Jesus with some thorn on his head. And I guarantee you, if I went out and did a YouTube video and portrayed him as the Prophet Muhammad in some weird way, I would have a fatwa on my head the next day.
Well, you certainly wouldn't win friends and influence people, that's for sure. But yeah, it's definitely. Look, we live in some very odd times, and I would. Randy, thanks for the call. We're going to catch up with this. We've got some other callers.
I do have a question for you that I want you to look at. Maybe you can answer me at some point.
All right.
If they were going to pick a world, I think the world religion would be Islam because it fits the bill for all the disgusting things they like to do under the name of so-called Allah, and Allah is a moon god. So, but that's my feeling. I know a lot of people don't see that. I could see how it would. It's almost like communism with this sort of religious attachment. And maybe someday you can address that at some point. And thank you very much for letting me with it.
All right, no problem.
And God bless you guys.
God bless you as well. And Joe, let me just say this. I think I can, and listeners, let me just say this. I think I can kind of answer that question. If you think about, if you think about the three major religions of the world, you've got Christianity, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Okay. All right.
And atheism.
Well, no, the three.
And Luciferian.
Talk about the three biggest here.
Okay.
When everything hits the fan and there's global wars, famines, and currency losses, and so on, there will be someone to come in and to pick up the pieces. I believe, based on things I've seen and heard, and I believe that person will be very accommodating.
Well, you're talking about the Antichrist?
I would say, the Antichrist.
Yeah, and I had this thought thinking about this weekend. What is a society, the entertainment, music, mainstream media promote? They promote this being cool and sexy and materialistic is like the cool thing to do. This is the way you should be.
Right.
This is the way everybody is. Kind of like how the devil will not come here with big red horns and a pitchfork.
Okay,
he will be the same
good.
thing. Sexy, cool, the thing to do, the person to follow. Kind of like Obama was in 2008.
Okay, yeah, don't think of the Antichrist as an ugly, skanky-looking guy, okay? Think of the Antichrist as like a Robert Redford or Harrison Ford. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, hey, nice. Somebody that people would relate to and never, ever, ever suspect. Ever suspect.
Right. And
that could be walking among us right now.
And the interesting verse, I don't know if I can find it now, is in the book of Revelations, and it talks about after certain events, the Antichrist will be revealed. And it made me think, like, will it not be revealed before the breaking point in the 3.5 years of tribulation? Will it not be revealed?
I don't know about that.
I mean, but it says specifically that the Antichrist will be revealed after a certain point. I don't have the passage. I didn't write it down, and I'm not that familiar with it as much as I have read this book.
All right, but to answer her question, though, I think that what would happen is this: because of this alleged uprising with all of the world religions, this savior on this, metaphorically speaking, this white horse, the savior would come in and act as like the arbiter of all the religions and kind of just water them all down and just kind of like water everything down to the extent where this one world religion will be just like a diluted, lukewarm nothingness, or where, so it's going to be like an amalgamation of all three major religions, but to the point where the finished product is unrecognizable, but for the sake of peace, and it'll work. And again, think of the thing, and folks, this is one thing I want to say right now: watch everything that's going on around you today, or in the world today. Watch the events today. Watch the current events, because I think we can pick some things out. I don't know, but I think we can. I think that's where,
well, the Lord stated the sun, the stars, and the sky were for seasons and signs.
No, I think we're in that season. I mean, of course, I don't know, but
he said he would give signs to the righteous and the ones who could see. The ones who were not righteous, they would be blinded from these indicators. Now, I don't think an indicator is a economic collapse
No.
It's much greater than that.
It's more spiritual. It's
right,
and it's yes, I agree with that. But see, I believe that we're in a very, very, very dangerous period right now, because
yes, we are.
The magic show is in full swing,
and
right now.
I got an article for this. Angie sent this to me. Prophecy, Predictive Programming, and the Overthrow of the Luciferian Elite by Paul McGuire. News with Views today. An important component in understanding current events can be found in understanding the prophecies in the Bible as they relate to modern history. These prophecies have a statistical record of being 100% accurate, which means they are statistically more accurate than computer analysis, remote viewing, and predictive programming. In predictive programming, science fiction movies, books, and other media used to subconsciously implant a belief system or expectation of what the future will be like. For example, the movie Hunger Games. The subconscious message was, if you want technological progress, you have to be willing to give up your personal freedoms and accept a totalitarian form of government. This message is being communicated in hundreds of films, television shows. As the result is an attitude of compliance, acceptance, expectations that society should move this way. Predictive programming is an occult-based system of mind control that creates a future society based upon the spirit of the Antichrist rather than biblical worldview. The Fabian socialists, who were the architects of the emerging global government and New World Order, were the electric group of writers, philosophers, economists, poets, political leaders. For example, H.G. Wells, the head of the British intelligence during World War I, and was the author of numerous science fiction novels, which were instruments of predictive programming. Wells wrote science fiction books like The Invisible Man, War of the Worlds, The Islands of Dr. Monroe, Time Machine. He also wrote The Open Conspiracy and the New World Order. Authors like 1984, written by George Orwell, and Brave New World, written by Aldous Huxley, were allegedly worked for British intelligence, came to Hollywood in the 1930s. Their books are examples of predictive programming, commenting on the financial elite. He goes on to say in his book, world bankers are pulled by a few simple levers that control the flow of money, can make or break entire economies. By controlling press releases of economic strategies, they shape national trends. The power elite are able not only to tighten their strength on the nation's economic structure, but can extend the control worldwide.
All right. We have to identify what are Fabian socialists. Well, Barack Obama is a Fabian socialist, and people might remember going back talking about Fabian socialism. Fabian socialists believe in nationalization of the economy through manipulation of the democratic process. What are we seeing right now? Well, we're seeing nationalization of the economy. A third of the economy is healthcare, and we're seeing nationalization of healthcare. It's a great thing according to Fabian socialism. Now, some Fabian socialists break away from their revolutionary tactics, believing instead of bullets, believing instead to use the media, for example, to mass media and community organizing. It works better than bullets and bombs. That's what Fabian socialists are, and these people will pervert everything they touch, because regardless, socialism is a perversion. It's a moral perversion. Mm-hmm. It's a legal perversion, and no matter how, and see, this is the problem that we have now. Oh, it's okay. It's not a murder of a fetus. It's pro-choice.
And somebody made a comment in the chat room, pro-choice. So is murder.
Yeah, exactly. See, and this is where I think we are right now, because people will be deceived by words. People will be deceived by flowery definitions and by even, it's such a sterile process. It's not, and it's going on in front of our faces. It's going on right before us. It's happening now. We're waiting for something really huge to happen. Well, that'll happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. But what about in the meantime? What's happening right now? The groping at airports, the nuking at airports, the GMOs, the spread, all of it, everything. What's happening right now? Well, everyone's looking for the big crescendo at the end. Well, we're not paying attention to what's going on right in front of our faces.
No. And he continues here, gets into a little bit what you talk about. There's a direct connection between the occult, Travis Stock, Frankfurt, and the international financial elite. Travis Stock and other occult-based mind control operations were funded by the British royalty, which is the allegiance involved in all kinds of Illuminati and satanic practices. In addition, the Rothschilds helped finance the Illuminati, Rockefeller, the Federal Reserve, the City of London, and Wall Street. They reveal their occult connections by using Illuminati and satanic symbols all over the monetary systems, governments, corporations. For example, the occult pyramid with the all-seeing eye of Lucifer on the back of the U.S. dollar is just one of thousands of open occult symbols. Through communism, fascism, which were formed by the Illuminati, there has been a systematic assault of the institutions of God, such as the family unit, religion, moral absolutes, and the promotion of sexual immorality. I won't read this whole article as it is long, but this is a good starting point to A, where you were researching. This fits in some of the things you were talking about, and I would look into the British influence background of this.
Well, you know what? I'll go one further and one more step. What's a Rhodes? What's a Rhodes scholarship named after? Cecil Rhodes, right? Cecil Rhodes, guy was born back in the 1850s and died like 1900 or something. I don't know. All right. He was from the United Kingdom. Okay. Who are the Rhodes scholars? Think about that. All right. What are the politics? What are the concessions? Look. Well, how can I even explain this? Rhodes scholars. Look at who they are. Look at Cecil Rhodes. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Make some connections.
Before we go here, this is the audio I wanted to play last week. Real quick, this is Ben Swan. No country would tolerate missiles from outside borders of the U.S., and it's hypocrisy. This talking about Israel, the rocket attacks they've been sustaining, and Obama's statement and the hypocrisy.
Well, so many people have been closely watching the fighting that has been going on between Israel and Hamas, specifically the bombings over the Gaza Strip. Obviously, right now, there is a ceasefire that is in place. But if you were paying attention to the events of last week, it is truly stunning when you compare what was happening over Gaza compared to American foreign policy. Last week, President Obama was in Thailand. He was visiting that country when he was asked to comment on the Israeli airstrikes over Gaza. And this is what he said. There's no country on earth that would tolerate missiles raining down on its citizens from outside its borders. So no country on earth would tolerate missiles raining down on its citizens from outside of its borders. So says President Obama, the President of the United States, the President who has been responsible for more drone strikes over other nations than any other president in U.S. history. But let's let the numbers speak for themselves. Let's start with Yemen. Between 2011 and 2012, the U.S. is known to have carried out 47 airstrikes against AQAP, or Al-Qaeda, in the Arabian Peninsula. In just 2012, that comes to 1 in January, 6 in March, 6 more in April, 9 in May, 2 in June, 1 in July, 5 in August, 2 in September, 4 in October, and so far, 1 this month. Now, estimates are that hundreds of people have been killed in those airstrikes over Yemen. Hundreds more have been wounded. But there is a study out that claims that the majority of the people who are either killed or injured in these attacks are not the high-level militants that the Department of Defense would like you to believe. From June of 2004 through mid-September of 2012, available data indicated that drone strikes killed between 2,500 and 3,300 people in Pakistan, of whom 474 to 881 were civilians, including 176 children. TVIJ reports that these strikes also injured over 1,200 to 1,300 individuals. And what the study does not take into account are the number of people in Pakistan who now say they live in terror, terrified about the fact that there are drones constantly flying overhead 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Look, there are many Americans who would say we have to do this in order to protect the American way of life and that we're at war with Al-Qaeda. And there is a price that comes with war. People love to say war is hell, and in this case, it's no different. All right, but let's talk about consistency. If you believe that Hamas are terrorists because when they fire rockets over Tel Aviv and over Jerusalem, that they kill innocent people, and they do, innocent children and women and men who have nothing to do with the Israeli army or the Israeli government. These are individuals who are just going about their daily lives. If you believe those are acts of terror, then why would it be any different when the United States is using drones to kill innocent women and children and men in Yemen or in Pakistan who have nothing to do with Al-Qaeda and nothing to do with their cause? When Hamas does it, we call it terrorism. When we do it, we call it collateral damage.
And that was Ben Swan. No country would tolerate missiles from outside borders U.S. hypocrisy. And he's talking about how there's this worldwide plea for Palestine, the Palestinian state movement, and the Israeli injustices of them defending themselves. At the same time, Obama came out and said no country would tolerate missiles being launched into their countries
just a matter of time.
Unprovoked, while Obama has drone campaigns doing the same exact thing to dozens of countries on a daily basis almost.
Look, and I believe this, it's just a matter of time before we see a drone strike here in the United States.
Yeah, there's been crashes of drones.
Well, yeah, but this is going to be the government saying, you know what, Abdul Kamada and Rashid Amana, we're driving down there by the southern border, and they had they were going to blow up the Bill Clinton library, so we had to take them out. All right, I mean, it's going to be something to that effect.
I got two stories, but we're just going to hit this one before we sign off. San Francisco porn company is offering its services to schools. A San Francisco-based pornography production house is offering a new kind of sex education class with live demonstrations by porn stars. The classes are being offered in San Francisco's Armory building, feature live demonstrations following a lecture, according to an article on sflist.com. The weekly classes have been going on for a few months now, even though the title of the article says San Francisco-based company offers sex ed classes with live demonstrations and that they're thinking of implementing this. But no, it's been going on for a few months.
It's morality, it's dignity, it's spirituality, it's lack of all of that. And
it doesn't go much further than this before we are completely the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, and that's coming, and it's that's where we're at right now. But it's interesting, once again how when we look at things, folks. I just in closing, we went over a lot of stuff tonight. I do hope that that you leaving tonight with a little bit more than what you came with in terms of knowledge. But I have to say this: you're going to see, you're going to see some things that are going to really be troubling here. I don't know when, but soon you're going to see the dollar collapse as a result of war. You're going to see our government thrown into chaos, or
the excuse of war,
or whatever. Yeah, it's you're going to see things change rapidly, but the upside of this, and one thing that we want to strive to do, is to be to facilitate the creation, to assist in others getting together. And
90 seconds.
That's what we're about, not going through this alone. And even if you are physically alone, you're not alone. Of course, you're not alone because of God, and of course, we're your extended family as well. But I just want to say that. Joe, we're at the end of the program, and I'm about ready to lose my voice. So
I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. God bless you all. Stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow here at the same time. You guys have a great night. Get some rest.
60 seconds.
And God bless you all for everything that you've done for us. And we got to give glory to the Lord, because without Him we would be nowhere. Amen. And thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the prosecution is not going to get that man today. No, because I'm going to get him.